Yo, we are live. Finally, we are live. Good freaking grief. I'm telling you, like, what I just had to go through in order to get, like, the stream even going is freaking ridiculous right now. YouTube, especially after the issues I had where they privated one of the prior episodes a few weeks ago for no reason, and then said, "Oh, sorry, our bad for privating that. I'm sorry that you missed out on all the the views that you were supposed to get." It's just
Right.
typical YouTube screwing up once again. So we're gonna get this thing started. This is DPS Podcast episode number 88. And I am glad to be here back once again with my co-host, my homie Gamer Forte. What's up, Forte?
Yo, man, I'm sorry that you were dealing with this. Like, literally, it seems like for the last 30 minutes, man. I can definitely tell your voice, but we here now, man. We here. It's gonna be a great show. A lot of amazing stuff came out today. Some people are gonna be happy about it. Some people not so much. But
Not so much, yeah.
Just knowing that I'm here with you over the once again on a glorious Thursday is good enough for me.
Hey, yeah, absolutely, bro. And oh man, it's been a time, man. It's been a time. I came back from vacation. I was on vacation when we did the show last week. Was able to see. Got home though, like a day after. And I was definitely at home. Well, actually, we were live for the a special episode. Not an official episode of DPS, but a special episode. You know how it is, of the Xbox Bethesda showcase. We're gonna do a recap of that as well. But I mean, first let's just get into some things. Like Forte, what have you been playing? What you been up to, man?
So I picked up the Quarry yesterday, and
Oh, really?
I picked that up yesterday. I didn't realize that install was that big. I mean, it's not huge, but it was still like, wow, that's still 50 something gigs. I was like, okay, but installed that, so I'm gonna probably start that probably tomorrow because I already know.
I wish co-op was working.
That's what I heard, because I was talking to somebody about it.
Yeah,
I was talking to somebody who said that that's supposed to come next month, whereas couch co-op is out right now.
Yeah.
Which is
doesn't really
well,
help when you're like, half a country away.
well, the biggest thing is what sucks is I don't understand why, especially in a single player narrative game,
Mm-hmm.
why would you have any it's like you almost want to have at least all of it or none of it at that point. It's like,
what do you mean all of it or none of it?
Like, when it comes to co-op, it's like, I understand, I could understand having like couch co-op. First of all, I didn't know this game was gonna have it, and then I saw it. I was like, oh, that's gonna be cool. You can play through the game with somebody. But I was like, don't they realize that most people play online, and that's who they're gonna have their experience with? I just always felt like right now it just seems like online co-op should be the number one thing that you should make sure is ready for your game on day one, because that's going to be the number one way that people are going to play it if they are going to play a co-op. But I'm just glad it's coming soon. But for it to be a launch game, it's like, wow, it should have been there day one.
Well, there is that issue with we discussed this about Supermassive games before, how they're kind of seem like following into some of the bad decisions that Telltale did, where they take on too many projects at once. I mean, look, they got all these other little individual games they're working on. The Quarry isn't even a part of the Dark Pictures anthology, but those are our annual release. You know that's still coming out this year, this October.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna drop 2 games in the same year, and it's like that's a lot of they have divided their resources so thinly, and it's something that I've noticed with Telltale. It's something that I've noticed that like a lot of their games really aren't on the same par as Until Dawn was, where it was just the entire 200 developer studio working on that one game, and so it's just I've noticed it, and and it just like they don't seem to realize that their games are buggier and buggier. The characters aren't as fleshed out as they used to be. Yeah. I'm not trying to speak down on the Quarry because I'm actually enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. I've streamed 3 episodes of it, so I played about like probably a total of like 6.5 hours of the game so far. I think I'm close to the end, and I'm enjoying it, but it's not as good as Until Dawn. It's probably their best game. I think it may be on par with House of Ashes, Dark Pictures House of Ashes, the 3rd one they did. But when it comes to co-op stuff, I'll get into that real quick. Let me do the super chats. Shout out to Rob the Don 202 for the $2 super chat. Says, let's go. We in here. What's up, Rob? What's up, man? Shout out to the Ashton Luca with the $5 super chat. She says, sup, Thotmo and Thodical. Glad you figured out the tech issues. I'm glad I figured it out too. Even though it was really nothing I could do outside of just killing the last stream completely, like the link, its entire existence, and starting over because YouTube just refused to let me go live. But it is what it is. Glad we got it fixed up.
I wonder what the name for like villain was. When you like me and you have like really like your name Thotmo, and I can see it. Thodical is like the Thodical is very, very, it's like wow, it actually comes off, it rolls off the tongue. So what is like villain enough? Like what would you like, what's villain's thought name? We need to get everybody in Scumcast. We got to figure out who they thought names are going to be. So Luca, I charge you with that. I need you to put that on a banner somewhere so we can celebrate all the thoughts inside our community.
Yo, can you shout out to people in the chat real quick? I need to go have a talk with my kids. They're acting crazy real quick.
Oh, I had to do that earlier. I had to do that too. So yeah, I got you. Yeah. So shout out to Mitchie Dies a Lot. My man was here first as always. We had Ramon Terrell. Shout out to you. He was on the panel with us during the Xbox event. Him and Connor. Soapbox Gaming. That was a really, really good stream. Shout out to Stardust. We got my man up in here. Who else is in here? We got Arcade. We got him. We got Truth Serum. Shout out to you, bro. We got Spider. Yo, brother. And we got Blade X. Rand was right. Xbox did get a Final Fantasy game. Yo, listen, we gonna talk about it, man. The Final Fantasy stuff. Shout out to the Snitch, man. The Snitch out there putting color coordinated squares on the screen, letting people know that a Final Fantasy game is coming to the Xbox, but it ain't the one that people really wanted. But yeah, shout out to that. And then the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario, the Ashen Lucia, the Ashen Luca, she's here. Shout out to you. Did I do that justice, Luca? I don't know. But shout out to you. Really, really appreciate it. Oh, Super Thought and Sir Thought. Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
Right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
She said villains is Super Thought and then Taz is Sir Thought. Okay, I'm with you. And yeah, I got everybody. Yeah, and I got everybody in the chat. Oh, Bunty, shout out to you, Bunty. Thanks for coming through, bro. Appreciate all you guys coming through today, man. We're gonna have a great show. And Slow-mo, what we got in store for these people?
Tater Thought. That's actually pretty funny.
Tater Thought.
Well, I mean, let's we were talking about the Quarry. The funny thing is that, like, if you look at the history of Supermassive, like, they really actually only intended their games to be single player. Until Dawn was so good though that like people were doing stream sessions with like a group of people just passing the controller around, and people saying, well, I'm gonna take this character, you take that character, who do you want to be, kind of stuff. And it's just like they realized then, like, oh, like we're kind of missing out on something. So they started like kind of working with like PlayStation move controls and stuff like that with the DualSense 4. So like before, like you ever heard of a game called I forgot the name of it. They did another game. It wasn't Hidden Agenda, that's it. Where you had to use the PlayStation app in order to help you like basically like control the game and make choices, and essentially it was like everybody would get like the free app on their phone, and you could sit down, couch co-op, and then everybody would be making the decisions based off, with their phone. That didn't work out too great just because the controls were poorly, but they as they continue to move on, like they've always been incorporating, even with the Dark Pictures, incorporating multiplayer into their games. It's just like it's been slowly getting better and better. I don't know what happened this time with it, why it wasn't ready at launch. They did say couch co-op is available now, but like they're still only doing like I think 2-player co-op when it goes live, which is like, I mean, the cool thing is that kind of like it takes 2. You can be able to just give someone a friend pass. They can install the game and then they can play it as long as they're playing it with you. But it's it still doesn't really duplicate the experience with Until Dawn, where like a group of people get together and everyone's doing it, you know. So it's I actually think we're gonna talk about this game because it was at the Xbox showcase later on. But maybe this game, if people can get past its visual aesthetic, maybe this As Dusk Falls might actually kind of deliver that kind of experience people are looking for.
Hey man, people were looking at that game side-eyed. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, but look, it's a very much a Telltale kind of style game. Yeah. The Supermassive, Quantic Dream, all these developers kind of do. Don't Nod with Life is Strange. It's like that, but it's like weird. It's like not stop motion, but it's like I heard someone say PowerPoint slides before. That's basically what it looked like. I was like, well, look at this. But they do say that when the game launches, they'll have 8-player co-op. So that's what I'm saying. Like they might actually be able to like deliver on that kind of experience. Regardless, we've been that game chooses to run at 5 frames per second at certain parts. Because that's what I was like, yo, look at this. But I like the aesthetic though. I think you'll like the Quarry. I think the characters are among the dumbest characters that Supermassive has ever created. Like these are really like some real like. Is it like also Lake Placid type stuff, character development? Yeah, look, man, I don't know how these people even survived to this point. Like, I don't know how they have lived in this world and didn't like randomly walk off a bridge and kill themselves. They're that bad. I was watching your gameplay, like your last stream of it. I was like listening to some of the revelations and stuff. And so I was like, oh, this is why the sheriff was doing such. I was like, this is so stupid. But yeah, but I figured it out. I figured it out. Like I'm like halfway through the game, I figured the big reveals and everything out. Well, not all of them. I think there's like one big reveal left. How many endings does this game have? Because you know they're really good for their 15 different endings. Well, here's the thing, right? So like. I heard there's over 100 different endings or something like that, right? But it's more of like, okay, so did everyone live? That's an ending. Did everyone die? That's an ending. Did this person die? You know, then it's like there's variations in it. And I think maybe like, because like I have one character that's died, and it died because I don't like the way they implemented the QTE this time. The QTE isn't a button anymore. It's like a direction on the thumb. Joystick direction. Yeah, and it's like, direction. And it's not accurate because it was like press up to catch this chain or whatever. I pressed up and completely missed it. Oh. And I'm like, and then it said I had pressed sideways or something. I'm like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. The character's dead now. I'm like, great. So it's like I wish they would have just kept to the whole just pressing a button at the right time or tapping a button or something. But I don't know. I guess they wanted to make it harder. It's all right though. I'm enjoying myself. I played that. I played some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredders. Oh yeah, we definitely need to play that in co-op. Yeah, actually, I'm actually gonna show some of my gameplay because it's fun. It's fun. I have fun. Although I've been playing it solo because like it's almost like nobody. Well, not nobody playing because I know there's some people playing it right now, but it's just that like when I was ready to play it, there was nobody available to play it, so I couldn't. But so I played a little bit solo. I actually had my party open so that people could join me, and some guy joined. Oh, you be party open? I thought you was like, oh, because you're playing this on PC probably. Yeah, but it's crossplay with Xbox. Well, I know that, but when you said party open, I was like, that means you're appearing online. But then I thought about it, I was like, I actually am appearing online. What? Jerk. Yeah. So yeah. Hi.
Oh my God, pinch me.
Yeah, I actually am appearing online, so screw you. Anyway,
so congratulations, man. I'm glad you welcome to the living.
But no, it's like, it's like your typical side scroller beat 'em up. It's fun. Shout out to Ashley Luke with the $5 super chat. She says only oldies enjoy these games, and that's a problem. Like that's a little inside joke. Some young Thundercat who on Twitter tried to say that only 30-year-olds are excited for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, in which that might be true. But then hey, us 30 and overs. My response to this young man was this is because we have great taste in games, and we also have fully developed functioning brains, because I linked a screenshot of how science has proven that your brain hasn't fully formed until you hit 25, which he didn't respond. He just liked the tweet, so I'm pretty sure like he's been getting killed by people all day long. So poor guy, right?
Oh, so let me ask you why you got your game. I see Leonardo on the screen. So is Leonardo your favorite turtle?
Absolutely. I mean, look, it might as well be Leo and the Green Guys or something. Like it's Leonardo. Right. Leonardo is the best turtle. He's the leader. He's the best fighter. He's the best fighter. You want a poll? Okay,
we need a poll. We need to put a poll. It's 4 turtles and there's 4 spots, because Donatello is by far the best turtle.
Donatello?
Donatello is the best turtle.
Nobody ever makes Donatello their favorite turtle. Stop it.
Donatello is God.
What?
God.
People forget he even exists. People forget he even exists. People forget Donatello is even.
Nah, Donatello, man. Leonardo. People just you just want to say Leonardo because you got 2 sharp katanas. Donatello has a bow.
No. Look, I was always a big fan of Leo, because he was the leader, right? And then 2, he was like the most noble one. He's the one that listened to Splinter the most, and he was the best fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't go. I know I'm probably gonna lose this because a lot of people like Leonardo. My brother's favorite turtle is Leonardo, but it's always been Donatello for me.
You losing by a large margin, sir.
Oh yeah, I had a feeling I was gonna lose. But I just like the fact that we got a teenage. I just like the fact that we have an actual proper Turtles game that we can even have this discussion. Shout out to nobody voting for Raphael at this point.
That's actually shocking to me, because I guess growing up, look, I grew up Ninja Turtles. I grew up like the movies, the cartoons, the comics. I had T-shirts. I had the toys, everything. Like I was a kid in the 80s. Everything was Ninja Turtles, right? But like, I feel like most people gravitated to Raphael. Maybe as we got older, we were just like, man, he's just kind of stupid.
He's just stupid. Always getting the turtles in trouble.
Yeah, always getting them in trouble. Always getting mad for no reason. Like, I guess like the rebel something that like younger kids will gravitate to. But as you get older, you be realizing, man, you just messing everything up, bro.
And Michelangelo will always be that darling, because he's just the fun, energetic one.
Yeah. But no, as far as the gameplay goes, I like it. It's a lot of fun. There is a bug. There's a particular stage where you're riding on like the little turtle hovercrafts, and you're like on the street, and unfortunately for some reason on the Steam version, it's like people are invisible. Like you are invisible, so you can't see your character and track where you are supposed to be and stuff. So when I did that level on the Xbox PC version, the Xbox app, on the Windows Store version, I didn't have that problem whatsoever. So I'm thinking that it's only on Steam, and like if you're playing on other platforms, other consoles, you're not going to have that issue. But just a warning for people who may not have played it yet. But it is a ton of fun. It's 6-player co-op. I haven't again, I only played with one other person. It was some random, but like I can't wait.
Who do you play with as the other 2 people?
April and Casey Jones. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I had to say it had to be Casey. Okay.
Yeah, but tons of fun. Like it's a lot of fun. I like the combat. I like It got
classic
all the
arcade,
villains
man.
there. Yeah, man. I mean, it's not quite the feeling of Turtles in Time, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. So I've been playing that. I've been playing a lot of Rogue Company, of course, and trying to struggle through some Remnant from the Ashes on hard mode with Luca, which has been hilarious because we've been getting bodied by these bosses. It's been kind of a struggle, you know. But I mean, I like the challenge, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, that's been everything that I've been playing so far. I guess we can get into like these topics now.
Yeah, definitely.
So the first topic on deck is Sony. So it's apparently Sony out here is finally dipping their toe in the like pro or elite controller market. They are now working on a PS5 DualSense Pro controller. Now, guaranteed, this thing's probably gonna be well over $200 when it comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
But I do think that's pretty cool. Something that I would be interested in. It's called code. Like they have a code name for it. It's code name Hunt. This was broken by Tom Henderson, who tends to have a lot of good sources when it comes to stuff like this. And trying to just go through it. It says it's going to have removable stick units. So that's something that
sticks will come off.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty basic for what you expect from this. As long as it's better than the Scuff controllers or than the Econ controllers, because I've kind of felt those have been overpriced for like I would just rather have a regular PlayStation controller than deal with those. Am I alone in this? Have you played with them at all? What do you think about them?
Yeah. Scuff controllers they're very overpriced. It's like the reason a lot of people gravitated, like especially on Xbox, gravitated to the Elite controllers because it's not a standard Xbox controller, where up until what they started doing the Impact controllers for Scuff, they were literally just taking the shell of an Xbox controller, cutting holes into it and making it its own design and stuff. Now they're doing a little bit more custom fabrication when it comes to their controllers and stuff, but they still just feel like standard Xbox controllers. Or even when they did PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 5 controller, they just feel standard. So the biggest thing with those controllers is the life expectancy on them. And the fact that you can't really go into a retailer and buy them, meaning if you do, the reason people are willing to buy an Elite controller knowing that Elite controllers have issues and they break all the time is because you can go into a store and replace it. You can go to your Best Buy, you can go to GameStop, you can go to Walmart, you can order it through Amazon, and if you got a warranty, it's replaced within like either that day or within a week. Compared to Scuff controllers, you have to send it into Scuff, and their warranties don't cover what everybody else's warranty, especially when it comes to like accidental damage and stuff. So I like the Scuff controllers. It's just that they haven't been as reliable as other controllers when it comes to like the amount of money you put into it. Because if you're going to spend $220, $250, and there's not a standardized price for them, it's like you're either going to spend $250, and if you want more customization, you're going to spend more. So it's always better for a manufacturer or like somebody like Sony to manufacture their own controller, because it's going to be a set SKU for that controller. There's not going to be different components or anything for it. You might be able to buy different parts for it, like upgrade the thumbsticks or something like that. But the actual functionality of the controller is going to be what the functionality of the controller is. And I don't think anybody does a better job than the company that makes the controller, especially if it's on their platform, because they're going to tailor make that controller for their platform, other than a third party coming in and trying to adapt what they want the controller to be like to work on said platform. So it's always a good thing to see that. But they're very, very overpriced and very, very overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I do want to say I like the DualSense controller. Like I really do like it. I think it's probably my favorite PlayStation controller. Period. So it's an awesome controller. And I agree with you. Usually, if I'm going to get something that's an improvement off of a template or a foundational design that was created by the manufacturer, I want to go with the manufacturer and not,
Yep.
Mad Cats or whatever the heck those other, trash products. And look, I'm gonna say some of them
Trash products.
might be pretty decent, but then when you get stuff like Astro trying to jump in there and make a controller, and Astro's controller was absolutely awful. Dead zones all over the place, just like
I had that controller, took it back in like a week.
Yeah, and you're charging $200 for it. Like, you're just basically trying to cash in, and that's just not cool. But to kind of discuss some of some of the key differences that would be between this DualSense Pro controller and the DualSense. One of the biggest changes is buttons under the analog sticks. I don't know exactly what that's going to be for, but I guess they'll explain that when they finally announce it.
Buttons under the analog. The analog, unless they're moving the analog sticks, there's no room for buttons underneath them.
We'll see. We'll see. Oh, and it depends. It depends if it's like slightly bigger controller.
Oh man, if they move those analog sticks and make them offset, I'll be on my PlayStation all the time.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, which allow you to completely remove the analog sticks and their components. So that's what the button is for. The button is for to help you kind of unlock the analog stick. I guess.
Okay. So it's like it's not a functional button. It's a button to just I got you.
And it says this would kind of help in case of like the issues like Ramon in the chat's talking about stick drift. In case if your controller develops stick drift, then you could be able to remove the entire component of the analog stick and everything under it in order to kind of like, so basically you, instead of having to buy a whole new controller, you would just put in a new component and then
you buy the whole new box for basically a whole new thumbstick component piece.
Right. And so that will probably be a cheaper thing instead of like you buy a $200+ like pro controller and then you get stick drift like 6 months in, you're gonna be pretty upset. This is the reason why so many people who have an Elite controller, an Xbox Elite controller, go get like Best Buy warranties and stuff like that, so that like because they have a high failure rate, especially with the
I change mine out once a year.
The bumpers. Yeah, I haven't changed mine out yet. I got the 2-year warranty, so I'm going to probably trade it out like right when it gets close to it. But yeah, I mean, I think I think it's cool. I'm glad they're finally getting into that market with that, because I think it's I think the Elite controller, I was so against it before, but now that I got it, I can't play certain games without my Elite.
To tell you,
and it's like I actually like, I don't like that part. I have to like kind of like get myself out of that mode. There's like certain games where, especially where, let's say like Halo Infinite, I like to have my melee mapped to one of the paddles.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not playing with an Elite controller, I find it very difficult to melee because I'm used to that. When I was on vacation and playing Rogue Company through my Steam Deck,
you was feeling all awkward.
Yeah, super awkward. I have on my paddle, I have the dodge roll mapped to it for Rogue Company. So like my dodge roll was like not as on point as it normally is when I'm playing the game, because it was like I gotta remember, hit the B button instead of hitting using my pinky to hit the bumper, which would have been easier. So it just makes playing these games a bit easier when you want to like use all those paddles and use all the different features that it has. Now of course, like, this doesn't say it's going to have paddles on the back or anything like that, but I assume it will. I just assume it will. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Apparently, according to Tom Henderson, this will be revealed soon. So I'm thinking probably at the PlayStation Showcase, when they do their big PlayStation Showcase of the year, they're probably going to reveal this Pro controller.
Think it's going to be if they reveal it at that, you think it's going to be a holiday thing that they're going to release, like they're ready to release this year?
Yeah, I think they want to release it sometime in the holiday. Also, here's another thing it does. There's grips on it, removable grips. So
Oh, dude, that's great because Xbox's grips, especially on their V1, Jesus,
mhm.
the grips will fall off that controller.
Right. So like if it's removable grips, if they start to wear out, you could probably replace them. So I like that. I like that. This is
Yeah.
it's looking good. And then apparently there's some prototype floating out there that people have had their hands on before. I think Jason Schreier has also spoke about this before as well. So look up, everyone be on the lookout for the PlayStation 5 Pro controller. That's I guess the prototype name of it. Whatever official name they give it, it'll be of course be the official name, but just something to look out for in the future. Next is kind of
Go ahead.
topic that really like I talked about this last night on Brap, and I really like I got really emotional, not like crying emotional, but angry emotional. Because there were people in the chat who were being very dismissive of what we were talking about. But
Yeah.
let me basically set the stage of what's going on here. So it's June, and recently in this country we have a cook. Where I'm looking for. I'm not gonna say that word. Because I can't say it right now for some reason. But we're celebrating in this country Juneteenth, which is when black people all officially became free. Now, some people may be like, wait a minute, didn't black people come free after the American Civil War? Technically, yes, but then also not really, because, it was the 1800s. News moved slowly, and people who were not willing to do what they were told when it comes to allowing actual people to go free weren't always compliant. So we celebrate Juneteenth because this one is it was June of, I can't remember what year it was, where all black people became officially free.
Mm-hmm.
And so from time to time we see, whether it's not just the video game industry, but we see companies do this thing where, like some people call it pandering. I don't like to assume why people do what they do, but then you get into situations like this, and then you do kind of wonder, like, yeah, this kind of look like pandering, because it kind of seems like you don't really care about what you're doing, or make sure that whatever you're doing to celebrate something, you do it with respect. And what I'm bringing up here is that 343 Industries, the developer of Halo Infinite, decided to celebrate Juneteenth with a nameplate. And this nameplate, one, used African colors, which it's a American holiday. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah,
using
American
African
holiday
colors
with African colors. Yeah.
Like, so the first thing that just doesn't make sense. But when it officially came out, when there was an update, when it first came out, the name of the nameplate was Bonobo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're like myself, you probably, and you have never heard the story yet, you probably have no clue what Bonobo is. Because I didn't have any clue what Bonobo was.
I did need it for a while.
So I Googled it. What the heck is a bonobo? Oh. Well, apparently a bonobo is an endangered great ape.
Sure
from
is.
the Congo of Africa. So I think you can pretty much see where I'm going here. We have a holiday that is celebrating something that was good, finally something good happening for African Americans in this country historically, and then with knowing that there's a racist term to try to create some kind of tie between black people and monkeys. You have the name of this nameplate in your game, Bonobo, an ape. Now, probably the quickest update that has ever occurred.
Right.
343 changed it. In the first change they changed it to freedom. And then they did another update the same day. They changed it to Juneteenth. But the damage had been done because people had already seen this and people already knew what happened. And, you know, I'm gonna speak for myself real quick. I definitely want to hear what Forte has to say about this, how you feel about this. But like, I know there are racist people in the video game industry. I know there are racist people that work on these video games. I'm not really disappointed, because to be disappointed, I would have had an expectation that you were better than this. But I don't know these people, and every time I hear about anything internal going on in these, name a studio, doesn't matter who the publisher is or who the developer is owned by, whether they're independent or whether they're owned by Sony, whether they're owned by Ubisoft, whether they're owned by Xbox, they all have the same issues. There's always the same demographic of people. I'm not going to say, you already know what the demographic is, that seems to not have any cares for anyone who looks different than them. And they let everyone that they work with know that. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that this was something that was a joke internally that was supposed to get changed before it went live. But whoopsie, it didn't. And the only thing that I'm truly upset about is the fact that Bonnie Ross and the leadership at 343 attempted to lie to us. They attempted to downplay what had happened. They apologized, of course, because the offense was made. But then they tried to act like it wasn't what we all know it is. A bad actor, a racist piece of garbage, insulting an entire group of people. Instead, they tried to blame it on one of their tool sets. They do have a tool set that's called Bonobo. Apparently, going all the way back to the Bungie days, they've had tools that are always named after monkeys for whatever reason. But somehow in the history of Bungie and 343, after 343 having been in existence for over a decade, at no point has any asset for any game that they've developed ever been named after this tool set. Furthermore, actual developers who don't work at 343, but who do work with similar tools, say it's impossible for it to have the name Bonobo. Because if the tool set would have named the asset because they forgot to put a name on the asset and gave it a default name, there would have been numbers involved. It would have been like Bonobo 1, Bonobo 2, Bonobo 555. It wouldn't have just been Bonobo. And I'm genuinely like disgusted that I work in the IT industry. I know what we use. I know what they use for as their database, as their repository to hold all their assets in case there's like a catastrophic failure with a server. You can restore everything that you're working on because you have backups of everything. Everyone that works at that studio has their own account, their own login. You can't just make changes and no one knows. When you make changes and it gets put into the system and the build, there's a time and a date and a who did it. So they know who did this, but they still want to blame the tool set. Oh, it was just a mistake. Oh, you're just full of it. That's what everyone who's listened to this, like everyone who actually cares has said. And I see a lot of people out here who are just Halo stands, who are just, hey, let's just act like, hey, they said it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Then how do you know that? You can't verify that. They couldn't duplicate the mistake for you. So I'm done ranting. Forte, what was your thoughts about this when you first realized what had happened?
Oh man, as soon as I saw it, I saw it. I was like, "There's no way that just found its way outside of the development portal and actually into the game, named like that." It's like, first of all, it's like these developers or these publishers or these big companies act like we don't know what's going on. It's like, I can understand, a failure, a due process, but like you said, they have a lot of their tools and stuff named after stuff like this, which we don't understand why, but due to everything that's happening in the world, you would think that a company as big as 343 attached to an even bigger company the size of Microsoft would actually be more, and especially when they come off to be as conscious and aware of, like, civil rights and the struggle of African Americans and stuff that's going on in the world. You would think that this is something that was vetted 2 times to Sunday. Like, this was not going to make it out the door at all in the state that it was.
Right.
And the fact that they had to make a major change, like, it's like when they said it was it was a Halo content creator that brought it to their attention. So I'm just thinking, like, okay, so where's the checks and balances on the information that's released from your company? It's something like this should never happen. And I don't care how much you apologize for it. I don't care how much you say this was a mistake. This is a mistake that you just cannot afford to do. Especially, and we're not even talking about just due to the fact that the game's not in a great place. People already are like looking at the game like, this is just terrible. The developers don't know what they're doing with the game and everything. This doesn't even include any of that stuff. This is just on a human rights part of just people don't understand the plight that you are setting for other people. It's like, why is this even in the game in the first place? I understand you want to celebrate, Black excellence and Black pride, and celebrate the fact that African Americans got their freedom and it's a national American holiday. I understand all of those different things, but it also comes off as a lot of pandering, because you see a bunch of companies do this every month around the same time. I guarantee on the 19th, you're going to see a lot of corporations change their icons on Twitter, change this. It's going to be a whole bunch of pandering to
Pride
something
Month,
exactly.
Disability Month, Black History Month, yada yada yada. But meanwhile, internally, none of the things that you say publicly on your social media is actually being represented inside of your studio. It's the complete opposite. Let's just keep it a buck, okay? Because I'm just thinking about some of the like what I know it takes to get something out the door. It sees multiple eyes before it actually reaches production, a production product, the actual build of the game, the final product. You're either one of two things, or both. You're either racist, you're a racist organization, incompetent, because whether you say it's a mistake or not, you allowed it to happen. You didn't know, or you didn't, but it's your own tool set. You named it Bonobo, right? Well, Bungie did, but you use it. But you don't know what Bonobo is? Ignorance. 2, it's named, it's put the name on the name for Juneteenth. Why, if did this get past QA? Why did literally no one go, what does a Bonobo mean? So why do we name this nameplate Bonobo?
Doesn't Bungie have a diversity? Don't they have a diversity officer? I'm not Bungie 343.
Not that I'm aware of. Bungie does
Oh.
now, but
I
I don't
know
know.
Bungie does now. Yeah, Bungie has one now.
Which,
But
which
you
is
would
which
think,
is which is silly because like
which is definitely silly because if they did have one and it still made it through, what is that person doing?
every time I see a company has a diversity officer, it's because it's a reaction to something that they did that would need to happen, is that there needed to be a change in the culture of the company because some kind of sexist, racism, whatever happened there. And so usually diversity officers are, well, they're a scapegoat. They are they're there to stand in front and take the bullets and say, we're changing. Are you really changing? Because adding a person who may or may not have any authority whatsoever to get rid of the people who are the problem doesn't really change anything if the culture hasn't changed, if the people who are causing this aren't held accountable. And that's the big problem here. That's the problem I had with 343's response, because they don't even acknowledge there was some racist piece of trash who did it. They won't even acknowledge it. So how do I know you're holding them accountable?
Whew. Man,
Like,
that's just
you're not holding them accountable because you won't even acknowledge that there was that someone actually did this on purpose.
And that's
hold on real quick. The correct response to me would have been the apology they gave, and then what we're gonna do from here on with this. The correct response to me would have been, we apologize for this disgusting display. This is insulting to a large portion of the people who play our games. This is insulting to a significant portion of the American population. That is not what we set out to do. Here going forth, the person who did this has been suspended pending review, which is an investigation, which is the legal way of saying they're fired. But we got to do it legally to make sure they can't sue us in some kind of way. But they're out of here. That is how you handle it. You get rid of the people who do it. And then you say, going forward, if anything like this even hits QA, the people who did it are going to get fired. You set the tone, because culture is set by leadership. What you allow will persist. If you allow people to be racist pieces of trash and name things that are sexist or offensive or racist, and then expect, oh, we can just change it before it hits live. But isn't that funny? If you send around completely inappropriate, unprofessional emails about people, about people's political stances, about the president, the way the president looks, or whoever, when you do things like that and nothing happens to the people who do it, you're choosing a side. You're choosing to accept it because it's not professional. It doesn't reach your guidelines. But if you don't actually enforce your guidelines aren't worth anything. Your rules aren't worth anything. And you've chosen your culture, and your culture is racism and stupidity. My bad, Forte. I cut you off.
No, you're good. Like I said, I just think at a certain point, this just keeps happening in just different instances and stuff like that. It's just a failure of understanding. These companies know what we go through on a consistent basis when it comes to systemic racism and stuff in the country today. Still, even with all this stuff, even with all of the advancements that we feel like have happened, it's still not enough. You still got people being killed killed by the hundreds and stuff. Every day you look up, there's another mass shooting or something like that. Then you have situations where people are still afraid to drive to work and get pulled over by the police and feel like they're going to still make it home to their families and stuff. There is just so many different things that show a point of empathy that needs to be had in these type of scenarios, that you would think that we wouldn't even play with a scenario where this could happen to be taken the wrong way. Because let's be for real, and if you want to get the benefit of the doubt and say this was a mistake, if it was a mistake, you are a multi-million-dollar company that literally has the ability to self-correct yourself at any moment. You have a $1 trillion company over you that has more assets than anything to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. It's not like you're over. I mean, I don't know the situation that's going on at 343. I know they're grinding. I know they're doing the things they do to get the game the way they want it to be. And I know they want to just make the greatest game they can. But you have so many different avenues to make sure that stuff like this doesn't seep through. And the fact that you changed it so quickly lets me know that you knew this was wrong. Now, maybe everybody at the company isn't being looked at as the bad actor and stuff like that, but it's just like Slomo, like you just said, your response isn't good enough. Like, I remember when NASCAR with the whole Bubba Watson thing with the noose in his garage.
Right.
And I remember that whole in the dude, NASCAR did not play with that. They literally forwarded and put an investigation out on themselves, and they said whoever did this, and we find who did this is what we're going to do. There was no sugarcoating it. They apologized for everything that happened. You know, the investigation took place and they acted accordingly. And some people still think they didn't even do enough. But 343, you didn't even do a quarter of that in this situation. You just apologized and said, "Oh, we're going to change it and take it down," and then you changed it to freedom, and then you said, "Oh, well, that's not good enough. We're going to change it to Juneteenth." And I'm like, okay, do you even know what you're doing at this point? You know, because it's like the message is it's like, I don't want to lose the message along this whole little song and dance that you're doing with the community, because let's be for real, we're the ones that pay your bills when it comes to the success of your game. And if we don't like what's going on in your game, people are going to leave. So right now it just feels like you're pondering to keep people engaged in what pandering, not pondering. Yeah, it's like you're pandering to the people just to keep them in your game. But guess what? We're tired of this, because this don't just happen. This happens to us more than anybody else.
Yep.
And it needs to stop.
Yep. And it will continue to keep happening when people continue to keep making excuses to keep letting people off the hook and not holding people accountable for the decisions that they make. I think we've said that multiple times. I'm gonna come out right here and say it. I don't give a damn about Halo Infinite no more. I just don't. This is kind of like the last straw for me. Like, I've been playing it like occasionally with Enrique, Brap, and Game Logic. Shout out to them. And we've been, like they play way more than I do, but I see them online. They hit me up like, hey, we need a third. You want to come through? I'll play the game. It has ceased being, because of the lack of content and my disappointment with 343, a game that I had in my main multiplayer rotation, in a game that I didn't mind playing solo by myself. Like when I really feel in the game, I'll play it solo. I don't need to play it with friends. I'll play it by myself. I'll play it with a group, a whole squad, a full stack, whatever, right? But Halo Infinite stopped being that for me when the content dried up, and then when they started a new season with even less content than we expected, I was like, you know what? It will be a sometimesy game. It'll stay installed for the times where people want to play with me, and I'll play with them. And because I can still have a good time that way. I can't see myself playing this game right now, because I don't respect anybody that works at the studio.
Not after this.
After this, no, there's zero respect whatsoever for the piece of trash that did with the racist thing they did with the name, for the incompetent people who allowed it to be viewed by us.
Yep. Should have never made it to us.
It should have never made it to us. From top to bottom, the lack of professionalism, the ignorance, the incompetence of everyone involved. I'm sick and tired of them. So I'm done. I'm just not playing Halo Infinite no more. I'm not playing. I really, until there's a massive changes at 343. I don't really care to play anything they make anymore. So I don't know you, Forte. I mean, that's just how I feel at the moment. I've already uninstalled the game. Like, this gameplay is from like,
it's from like weeks ago.
Yeah, this
like,
gameplay is like over a month old, so it's just, it's there.
I'm with you, man. I mean, and like I said, it's unfortunate. I stopped playing the game for the first thing you talked about is the content drop and stuff. I played it initially. It was like, okay, this ain't it. Still ain't enough for me to do it. And like you said, Halo is one of those games that I can jump in and play by myself. I don't need to be playing with anybody to enjoy the game. There's just nothing there. But then when you compound that with this now, it just seems like a roller coaster ride that I don't want to be on anymore at all. It's like, there's nothing tangible there for you to even care about where this game is right now. And of course that could definitely change in the future because content rules all, but there needs to be a lot of stuff that needs to change at the leadership level at that company.
And we've been saying that for years.
Yeah, well, this is just another reason of it. The fact that there's department heads, like whoever is the department head of overall of just the battle pass or just the overall seasonal offerings and stuff. This was a miss. This is something that had to be approved in order to be pushed out. And the fact that it was pushed out in the state that it was pushed out, not just in a state of just gameplay, but just for something that a majority of people that play your game that are in a minority, they get a chance to see this, and it just reminds them of everything that's wrong with this world. Like, why is it fashionable for that to be something that we can turn on our Xbox, log into a video game, which is supposed to be your great escape from all of the other crap that's going on in the world? Why do I log into your game and see that? Now, granted, that could have been a mistake, but we can't take what you're saying at face. That's what I'm saying. We can't take that as a face value mistake.
They lied to us. It's
exactly.
Like, I don't even want to like try to.
You don't even want to even try to even figure out.
Give them the benefit of the doubt that it might have been a mistake. There are enough. I know enough developers at this point, and I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying I've spoken to people since this incident has come out who are former developers, and they say that was not a mistake.
That was a mistake.
The only mistake is that it was seen by us.
Yep.
That's the only mistake, that we saw it. But when it was put in the game, it was intentionally manually put in the game. This nonsense that 343 is putting out, where they're saying, "Oh, it was a mistake. It was an error. It was just a really unfortunate coincidence." Yes, you know what? Look, we try to be like very polite here and keep the curse words out, but like when you're being that disrespectful to me, I kind of want to say some things to you that I would have to put earmuffs on my kids' ears before I did it, just because I'm not feeling the disrespect. So I'm done with the game. Forte sounds like you're done with the game. I'm really at this point done with 343 until I see some massive changes there. And if there's anyone, although I doubt anyone there is listening, or anyone in leadership is listening to this, you need major changes with this studio. Like, I think you know this by now, but like, in case you need a further reminder, you need major changes at this studio, and this is yet another example of why. But let's go ahead and move on, man, since we were running a bit late with the technical issues and whatnot.
Well, the last thing I do want to say on it is,
go ahead.
Anybody that wants to celebrate holidays and stuff like this, national holidays or federal holidays and stuff like this, remember, all black people are not from Africa. why do we have to have, like, I understand that that's kind of the branding that a lot of people want to have with the African flag or the African colors and stuff, but we don't have to, that don't have to be a thing. It's like I said, that's the whole pondering side of it. I feel I just feel like let's just do better, because I understand that it's good for business to make it look like that you actually care about the stuff that's going on in a diverse environment and in a diverse world, because guess what? These diverse people buy your product. You know, Michael Jordan made a crazy statement that a lot of people were mad at him about, where he said Republicans buy sneakers too. But at least the man was up straight. He was upfront about it. Let's be for real. I just want these companies to just do what you do. You ain't gotta pander to us. Just make it so our voices are heard. Make sure that the people that work for you, because there are people that work at these companies of minority and of color, make sure those people are taken care of, and just make sure stuff like this doesn't happen at your place, because that's the stuff that hurts us the most, because we work for you, we work in these environments, and we see this type of stuff, and it comes off to us as very disingenuous to the things that you always keep saying year after year after year. And we hear the same thing every year, but then we have this same issue pop up. May not be this company, maybe a different company, but you would think that all of these companies would kind of see through the trees and say, we got to stop doing this. So let's just do better. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know what the sad thing is? And I'm gonna say this one thing, then we can move on. Instead of actually fixing the culture in their studio so that like you wouldn't even have to deal with this on the QA side of someone doing something like that, they'll probably just stop even doing the things like a Juneteenth nameplate.
Yes, just stop it.
but see, that's not changing the culture in your studio.
No,
you're
it's
still,
not.
You still got people out here naming stuff racist in development. Only, you know, because hey, look, we're going to change it to something that's acceptable before it goes out, and that's known within the studio, and they think it's fine. You're still going to have that kind of culture. They're just going to stop doing things that might expose the kind of people that they are. So instead of celebrating Juneteenth, you're just going to see no one celebrating Juneteenth anymore. Not because they you know, they don't want to look as people who are pandering, but because they don't want to get exposed for the kind of culture that they have, and that's unfortunate.
That's true.
That's
true.
Moving on.
Let's move on.
Capcom had a really interesting showcase. When I say interesting, I mean it as in like it wasn't really all that interesting at all. It was actually kind of boring.
I was gonna ask you what was interesting about this showcase.
it was not a good showcase, but there's about two things that popped up out of that showcase that are worthwhile, worth discussing. One is that there's going to be, well, actually, this actually didn't happen in the showcase. This was announced a little bit earlier today. There's going to be a Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's going to be running on the RE engine, which is freaking beautiful. You're looking at the stream, you're looking at the RE engine right now from this is actually footage from my review of Resident Evil 3 remake. I was going to reinstall the game just to do some footage for the stream because but I just didn't have the time, but I definitely wanted to do that. I probably will reinstall one of the Resident Evil games that I own. I have Resident Evil 2 remake, which I haven't finished. I have RE3 remake, which I really enjoy. I have Village. I don't have 7, but the reason why the one good thing, or the one interesting thing I thought that was there from their showcase was they're doing a free update for Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 remake, and Resident Evil 3 remake. This free update will be coming to PlayStation, to Xbox, and will also be coming as a free update to PC, because a lot of these features that are in the update were not even present in the PC version of the game at launch. And so what you're probably asking, like, well, what exactly is in the update? Well, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get ray tracing. You're going to actually, before I had to reboot my computer, I had the thing up saying everything that was going to be available. Give me a second. But you're going to get features that weren't even in the PC version at the launch of the game, which I think is pretty awesome. And if you own the game already, you're going to be able to just download it for free. Now, there is something about PlayStation. I think if you got Resident Evil 7 through the PS Plus service,
you won't be able to get the free update.
You won't be able to get the free update. You're going to have to spend money to get the PS5 version in order to get the free update.
That's consistent with what they did with Final Fantasy and a lot of other games that had updates for PS4 version of PS5.
Yeah. I can't find everything that's going to be available in it, but I do know that on the PC side of things, you're going to get ray tracing, which is awesome. And that's what I wanted to see, but I probably will end up playing around with it at some point and seeing how it looks. But Forte, I don't know. Are you a Resident Evil fan?
I am. I stopped really playing it after 6 was kind of the down spiral for me. I was like, this is trash. 7 was really good.
Blade X's is 120 frames per second mode on consoles. That's probably is going to have probably a 1080p resolution in order to help achieve that, which is fine. If you have a TV that's capable of showing you 120 frames per second, I think that's a decent trade-off at 1080p. But of course, out here on on PC, we can do both. But my bad. Go ahead and continue.
On PC, you ain't got to worry about nothing like that.
Right.
But no, I think it's really, really cool. Getting a chance to play those older games and get better frame rate, just better overall everything. That's one thing I always loved about next gen, that we could actually get the ability to play a lot of the games that we probably either missed, because you gotta remember, a lot of people didn't play some of these games. Like a lot of people probably didn't play past Resident Evil 4. They haven't never played 5 or 6 or 7. So this would be a really, really good chance for people to get caught up and get a chance to play some of these games that they missed. But as always, we're just getting closer and closer to PC becoming the most dominant console, because now we're starting to see why platform. Now you're starting to see why people for how long people really enjoy these type of updates and stuff, because this is something that's been inherent to the PC platform forever. I see people out there celebrating the fact that now consoles can do it, which is a great thing. But we could have been doing this for a long time if you were on another platform, on another console or another platform. But to each his own. But in general, this is a really, really good move. I really, really like it. It's going to get me. I'm definitely looking forward to Resident Evil 7, the remake for that. That's going to be the one that I'm definitely wanting to dive into. But being able to play those older ones and get the updates to those, that's really cool, because I didn't know if we were going to get them. And it looks like they're, I guess it's a kind of like a celebration of them announcing 7, and the fact that 8 did really, really well. They got a VR version of 8 coming out at the maybe at the end of the year if the PS VR 2 gets announced. So this is going to be a really good year for Capcom when it comes to that. It's going to get people and think about how the best way to sell your new stuff is to get people playing your old stuff, and especially if you can enhance it and make it even more enjoyable for people. Now people are going to jump into that new games like, oh, let me try out with the new Resident Evil. Let me try out 7. Let me try out 8. Oh, you know what? There's a VR version coming. Let me pick up the PSVR and I can get another double dip and get it over there. Or maybe you want to just play on PC and stuff like that. So this is just a means to an end to get people playing Resident Evil games again, because they have a new one coming out, and that's a great move by Capcom to use their old IPs to do that.
Shout out to Blade Axe in the chat. He says it. I don't know if his C1 is telling him the resolution or not, but he says it looks like 1440p at 120 frames per second. I mean, that wouldn't shock me if that's possible if they put the settings down to like say low medium settings and kept the resolution at 1440p. I played the gameplay you're seeing on screen right now is really old. I did a review of RE3 remake when it first came out, and let me actually skip that because I don't want to get copyright strike from that trailer like I did before. I remember when I was running my frame rate counter. And back then I had my GPU on my PC was a 2070 Super, which is, I say, probably a little bit. It's a 2070 Super is on par with Xbox Series X. So with that said, I played this game. I was over 100 frames per second for the entirety of my playthrough at 1440p. And probably a mix of high and ultra settings. So more than likely, the consoles are going to be able to play at about that same clip. So I think 1440p probably would be possible. Definitely with 1080p, because the RE engine, it looks great, but it also performs great. And that's probably the best part of what I like about it, is that everything that I've played in the RE engine has played extremely well on my hardware. So I think, and it looks great. So I think that's probably one of the better engines out there in the gaming industry. So this is cool. I'm glad Capcom did this, and I wish the showcase had a little bit more to show than just giving us some cool updates for free. Yeah, like I said, I might reinstall this. Maybe I'll make it on lunchtime with slow-mo. You guys see me running around with no ammo, throwing bricks at zombies or something. I don't know. But we can move on to next topic here. Something that I have really excited to talk about. We had a Square Enix showcase today, which was a celebration of Final Fantasy VII's. How many years is it?
25.
25 years for Final Fantasy VII. 25 years.
Yeah, 25 years. Came in 1997.
And so it was a really short showcase. Wasn't very long at all. I think probably about 15, 20 minutes at the most. But we got about three updates here. First update was Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to Steam and is available right now on Steam, and you can go ahead and pre-order it and preload it immediately. Shout out to Bunty. Shout out to Bunty for becoming a 10%er. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you for becoming a member. And since we talk about that, let's go ahead and hey, if you haven't become a member yet, don't be like the other 90%. Be like the 10%ers, all right? Here, come become a member. We really appreciate you doing that. If you decide to do that, if you decide to support us in that way. And again, thank you, Bunty. Hit the 10%er membership. And if anyone else wants to join, please come do so. But
you got any other? Anybody else on the min-maxer so we can get you playing something you don't want to play?
Can we get back to what we're talking about? I don't want to talk about that right now. So look, yeah.
Callisto Protocol, y'all.
No. So tomorrow you'll be able to play Final Fantasy VII Remake on Steam.
Yes.
Hopefully. Matter of fact, let me say that better. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which has the intermission DLC that features Yuffie. That is what is the version that's available. Now, hopefully, it's a better performing version than it is the Epic Game Store version. The Epic Game Store port for Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the worst ports I've ever experienced on PC.
That bad, huh?
Dude,
Better off playing it on PlayStation, what you saying?
I wouldn't go that far, but
okay, so because
there was mods that came out with like within 2 weeks that fixed a lot of the issues that made it a worthwhile experience. I played the game at like 120 frames per second and 1440p at ultra settings for like the entirety of it. The problem is like they launched it in Epic Game Store as a DX12 game.
Oh.
But it didn't have any features for DX12. Like if you're gonna have DX12, we expect you to have like DLSS. We expect you to have ray tracing, stuff like that. They had none of those things. So it was just like, why is this you might as well make it a DX11. And in DX11, it ran flawlessly. So you had a DX11 version of the game, but you forced the DX12 version that wasn't good. Every time during a cutscene, like they would change like scenes or change the camera, there would be a stutter, like a micro stutter. Every time an animation would begin, there'd be like a micro stutter. The frame pacing was all over the place. It was terrible. So I'm hoping that the Steam version isn't that bad. I hope that they've learned their lesson at some point, but I don't know. It's Square Enix. They seem to think that like they can just charge you $70 for trash, trash ports, and expect you to just spend your money on it, which is ridiculous. By the way, and yes, because it's going to be in Steam, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is now available on Steam Deck, which I'm not getting it on. I mean, I have it on Epic Game Store, but that would be pretty cool to be able to play that game on my Steam Deck. Shout out to Homie Juan I like that name. Homie Juan Kenobi. That's a good name. I like that. The $5 super chats. Appreciate the show, fellas. Homie Juan, we appreciate you, sir.
I really appreciate that super chat, especially after the Kenobi last show was actually really good.
I still haven't seen it yet. I need
you to go watch that, man.
I'm gonna watch it. Let's get to the other. So, okay, before we get to the next thing, what do you think about Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate going to Steam? You haven't got it on PC at all, right?
No, I play that thing on PlayStation. I might get it on Steam. The biggest thing is the reason I haven't bought it on Steam because I'm hoping, especially with the reveal that we're going to talk about later on, I'm hoping they do a pack where it comes with both, and then I will pick it up on Steam at that point.
Well, no, integrate means okay. So
I'm talking about next year.
Oh, okay, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that
like that before I do it.
Okay, got you. All right, so before we get to that, let's talk about the other thing they announced. The other thing they announced is a remaster of Crisis Core, which is the game that came out on PSP that focused on Zack from Final Fantasy VII. And I've never played Crisis Core because I never had a PSP, and I could have emulated the game, but I just I didn't. But this is perfect for me. Not only have they they're bringing it remastered back and kind of cleaning it up, making it look a little bit nicer, but they're also changing the gameplay so that it's very similar to how the combat is in Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is great combat, which I'm hyped for. So that is definitely the version I'm definitely going to get, because I can't wait to play that. And it's available on everything. It's going to be available on PlayStation, Xbox, I think Switch, as well as Epic Game Store. So I'm definitely playing that. Are you playing that, Forte?
Oh, absolutely, man. Crisis Core was incredible.
You played it before?
Yeah, I played Crisis Core. That was like the reason I bought one of the reasons I bought my PSP outside of Hot Shots Golf. That was cool too. But I'm definitely picking that up. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, we get to play as Zack. This is gonna be really, really cool. And I really like the updates they did to the game with the overall remake of it. Looks really, really good. Looks really clean. Mm-hmm. I can see mouths moving now, which is something we didn't see back then. That was really, really cool. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, man, look, that's the Buster Sword. And then when they started panning the camera, I said, oh, that's Zach. I saw we getting a Crisis Core. You know, and that was really cool. I mean, shout out to the Snitch, you know, putting that out early and stuff. But
he is still perfect.
No, he's perfect.
He has never been wrong on any of his leaks. Like that's how that look for all these fake leakers out here, all you fake insiders who think you claim you guys. Oh, I got my sources say something big's about to happen any day now. That's not a leak. You just want attention.
Yeah.
You ain't an insider. The Snitch is an insider. That guy, everything that he says comes true. Everything. Because it's real. Because he has real connections. Shout out to him. I know there's some people who don't like having his stuff get ruined. I would say recommend block or mute the Snitch, so that you don't see and get things, surprises ruined. If you want to be the kind of person that sees it as it occurs during a showcase or whatever. I'm the kind of person that's like that. Hey, nah, man, go ahead and tell me the ending. go ahead and tell me the ending to the story. I'm good. I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's going on. So I appreciate the Snitch. At least I do. Like I said, I'm getting Crisis Core. I'm probably gonna get it on PC, just so that I can play it or whatever, you know, like setting a frame rate I want to play it at. But let's get to the big thing. Let's get to the big announcement. We now have had the very first trailer of the part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is now called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And they showed us a trailer. It was pretty cool. It looks like definitely we're going to get that flashback at Nebelhelm, where the hometown of Cloud and Tifa, where when Sephiroth was there in the original game, a lot of stuff went down. We got that first flashback that was a little off. There wasn't exactly the full story, the accurate story, and then later on got like the flashback that actually was the truth. But like everything about like Sephiroth's upbringing, all that stuff, like you see Cloud and Sephiroth walking together there, which I think that's what it was showing. And you see you hear some Cloud having a conversation with Aerith, and it seems like Aerith is kind of coming to terms with the fact that she wasn't really supposed to live in the other timeline. So it's basically, if you look at some of the comments they came out with, they said that this game, if you didn't play any other Final Fantasy game, you could pick up this game and be just fine. There really are.
I don't get that part.
Oh, well, but
I mean, I get it, but
I mean, well, you never finished the game, right?
No, I finished it, but no, they changed like they retro changed the ending of that game.
Well, so it's a sequel and not really a remake. It's a sequel because what they did was they broke fate, and when they broke fate, they actually changed their what was supposed to happen. So as soon as they left Midgard, everything that we know of from the original game, it did occur, it did happen. It could kind of just happen in a different timeline,
right?
And now they've created a new timeline, and so now, hey, baby Sephiroth, you know, accomplishes his goals. You know, maybe Aerith lives, maybe other people who previously lived die. We don't know. And so now it's charting in new territory, which I'm really excited for, because old school fans as well as the new players now are all on the same ground. You know, we're all at the same starting point. Now, you know, you may have some context clues and history and know some things, you know, about these characters, but you don't know what's really going to happen. I think that's amazing. Forte, what do you think about all this stuff?
I think it's really, really cool. The trailer, I just like listening to the conversation from Cloud and Aerith having, and just the ominous of sitting there like, oh man, this. She's like, I'm dead, and then all this. It was just so eerie. And then watching him and Sephiroth walk up to the cliff, overlooking looking over the horizon, I was just like, yo, this. It's like you really don't know what to expect in this game, because like you said, they broke fate in the first one. So what direction are we truly going in? And I feel like this is probably, honestly, in my opinion, up until this point, one of the best remakes you could possibly do for a game, because you're staying semi-loyal to the original game, but you're adding more context and more stuff to it that's kind of changing it and making it new for people that already played the game, plus people that never experienced the game. They're getting something completely different than what we got back in 1997.
Yeah.
So I am beyond excited. As soon as I saw that trailer, and I remember I was talking to you earlier today, I was like, man, I don't know when we gonna get Final Fantasy Part 7 Remake Part 2. And then they announced it. Literally, you sent the tweet, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, just listening to the conversation, Era's my bae. I love her so much. Just listening to that conversation her and Cloud were having as him and Sephiroth was just walking, and all you see is just Sephiroth, just the back of him, just walking up this hillside. I was like, man, it's just so epic, man. And the only thing that sucks is it doesn't come out till the end of next year.
Right. Which kind of makes me think that, all right, a couple of things. One, this is going only on, and you saw in the trailer, it's only on PS5. So it's only on the PlayStation 5. Yeah. And I'm gonna have a question for you, Forte, in regards to Xbox when we're all finished talking about this. But what this basically says is that even on PC, the PC version is going to come later.
Yes.
This also means that Square Enix is going to drop 2 Final Fantasy games. Well, at least 2 Final Fantasy games next year. That's Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, which they've also confirmed this will be a trilogy. The third game will end it, but they haven't got they won't reveal. They know they have the name of the third game. They haven't revealed it yet.
Right.
Now, Gregor says they said winter, not December. This is true. They did say winter, so that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be December. It could actually end up being like January 2024. Because that technically would be next winter. So that's true. But it is good to see that like both of those titles are coming within a very short period of time. But only on PlayStation. Forte. Gotcha. We discussed this last week with Gaming Act. Shout out to Gaming Act.
Yeah, shout out to that.
And I think we were all in agreement that if we did not get an announcement at the Xbox Bethesda showcase, a Final Fantasy VII Remake going to Xbox, it ain't coming. We didn't get that. Are you still of the mind that it ain't coming?
It ain't coming until all 3 games are out.
Do you think that like 3 years from now? Seems like
3 years. Not even 3 years from now. I think Sony has the exclusivity on it for all 3 games, and I think it's probably going to be even a year after that. And then you'll see it come as a collection, because you know what they're going to do. They're going to sell the game they're going to sell all the games independently.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to have a master collection, collector's edition that has all of them in it. And when they do that, that's when you'll see it come to Xbox. But until that happens, it's going to be PlayStation only. Because I do think that at a certain point, now, could they keep it? I mean, it's always been a PlayStation title when it comes to Final Fantasy VII. So could they just keep it to its roots and keep it PS5 only? Yeah, absolutely can.
But here's the deal, though. Like, there have been people out here. I can't remember if it was Jeff Grubb or someone else that said it. And Jeff, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I'm misquoting you, but there have been people out there who have said they've seen the contract, and they know for a fact the contract that Sony had with Square Enix for Final Fantasy VII Remake was only for a year. But once the
renewed it,
contract was up, or what, maybe they renewed it, maybe they didn't. But once the contract is up, the game's not out on Xbox, but it is out on PC, which PlayStation is chill with PC. They love PC. They about to have a launcher on PC. So for them, it's like, yeah, go ahead, put it on PC. We don't give a crap. Now maybe they did renew that license, but I mean, I'm sorry, that contract for exclusive to keep it exclusive. But who knows, right? I think that Crisis Core the remaster going to Xbox might be kind of like, saying, hey, look.
You think that's an olive branch?
A little bit.
That's the worst olive branch you could ever give.
It is, absolutely. But at the same time, if that gets gobbled up by the Xbox community, if it sells well on Xbox, I can see potentially Square going, let's go ahead and put the first one out.
Ooh.
On Xbox. Finally.
So I had a conversation with Addict earlier today because when I saw it, I talked to him, and the first thing that he said is, "This is some BS. I'm not supporting this." He said, "I'm not supporting." This is his words. I am not supporting I'm not supporting Xbox just getting a PSP remake of a game when the main course is on PlayStation 5 and they're not giving us any reason on why Final Fantasy 7 Part 1 isn't coming to Xbox. He said his word, like, and I agree with him to an extent. His words.
Why?
His words.
Why are you torturing yourself?
Oh, I'm not torturing myself. I'm gonna end. I already bought it on PS5 once, so I'm gonna do it again.
I just said I agree
with him, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna actually do that. But the biggest thing is his thought process was the fact that this is, and I brought up the whole, Bethesda thing with Xbox taking away, Starfield and Bethesda games, and I bring that as a kind of argument to what he was saying. He was like, well, he said, well, don't be mad at the person that bought the company, be mad at the person that sold the company. So he said, I'm not mad at Sony. I'm not mad at Sony for doing anything.
He's mad at Square Enix for taking a deal.
He's mad at Square Enix for making a deal with Sony to make this game exclusive to their platform. He said, at this point, why won't they just be owned by Sony at this point?
Let me say this, right? If Xbox did better last generation, it wouldn't be so easy for Sony to get timed exclusives.
That's true.
Because when your games barely sell on that platform, it's easy for Sony to say, yo, what are your estimated numbers for this game on that platform? What is it? Oh, just that's it? Okay, right. How about this? We're going to give you that plus 5%. It's timed exclusive for us for 2 years. Bet. Sounds good. Now, as Xbox Series consoles sell better, potentially the higher the actual hardware sells, potentially the higher the actual software sells, potentially, it's going to get harder for Sony to be able to make those timed exclusive deals. So because then now publishers is like, well, look, this is what we look. They only 5 million consoles behind you, so we estimate the sales are going to be this, and then at some point someone's going to look at that number and be like, I don't know, we can make good with that. So I'm sorry, don't be mad at Sony. Don't be mad at Square Enix. Be mad at Microsoft for performing so poorly. They allowed the market to be like this. They allowed their competition to be able to basically throw money at publishers or developers to get stuff timed exclusive because your platform did so poorly that they know you're not going to sell enough to make up for it. So that's on Microsoft. That's where I think you should be angry at. You know, if you're gonna be angry at somebody. Shout out to Rob the Don 202 for another $5 super chat. Rob says, I really think Sony is going to buy Square before Final Fantasy VII comes to the Xbox. You know what, Rob? That's probably a really high likelihood. I mean, they are very much, you know, in bed with one another. You know, I think at some point Sony's gonna put a ring on it. You know, stop, you know, treat that woman right, you know. Treat Square Enix right. If they're gonna be a first party for you, actually just make them a first party already, you know. Now, Forte, what do you think about that? What do you think about my assertion that, like, this is Microsoft's fault?
Oh, it's definitely Microsoft's fault, because this is the reason Bethesda had deals with Deathloop, same thing with Ghostwire Tokyo, same thing that happened with the original Final Fantasy game, what happened with any other third-party game that PlayStation was able to get on their platform when it comes to stuff like this. Another reason why it was so easy for Marvel to make the decision to go with Sony and make that, because they had studios on top, the fact that they had studios, but also the fact that they were the market leaders, so it was easier for them to do stuff like that too. When you're the market leader, you can kind of get away with a lot of more things, and then you got more. And then when they look at the number, there's like, man, they could just sell way more systems and stuff over there. So that means more Patreons get a chance to play our games. But in general, it just ultimately comes down to, this isn't going to change. And I like what he just said in the super chat about Sony probably is going to end up purchasing them well before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth even comes out. And I do think there is a lot of fire to that smoke that's going to probably happen in like the next year or so. And maybe that's another reason why Final Fantasy still hasn't come. The remake hasn't come over to Xbox yet.
They're just working on the like acquisition of that size would take a while, the way the Bethesda one took a while, right? So like maybe
because you gotta remember, Microsoft has went a completely different route when it comes to their intent in telling people about purchases, where Sony, on the other hand, doesn't even talk about an acquisition for the most part until it's done. I think the only one they did that with was Bungie, because just the sheer amount of money it was.
But this would be more than Bungie.
This would be more money.
This would be at least double what Bungie costs.
Now, that's the question. Would they have to announce that publicly that they're doing it, or can that be something that's done on the back end?
No, they have to announce, especially when these companies are publicly traded. You can't like hide that. You have to announce it.
You have to announce it, yeah.
But that said, like, I think the Square Enix selling all of their Western developers and the IP for like a super discount to Embracer Group kind of shows like they were trying to get rid of unfavorable assets as quickly as possible. You could see potentially that Sony just, you know, not saying like Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal are bad developers, they're absolutely not, but for what Crystal Dynamics did with Tomb Raider, it's very similar to what Naughty Dog has with Uncharted. Sony has no like use for those IPs or those developers, so it would make sense that they would kind of like cut some fat, get a little lean. You know, they've been working on their body. You know, got that summer body that attract that man to attract that Sony. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me. I did want to kind of move on because we were kind of running behind. But hey, look, Xbox guys, I'm gonna tell you what I always tell everybody when it comes to, you know, wanting games that you want. There's no use in crying on social media about it. There's no use in claiming X publisher is horrible. Go buy the platform that it's on and enjoy the game. And if you already have the platform it's on, you really got nothing to complain about at all. Just buy it there. Point blank, period. Now,
speaking of which, before you move on, shout out to the Golden State Warriors being up 14 points with 6 minutes and 58 seconds left and get ready to win this NBA chip.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to the
Another
Warriors.
championship under the belt. Steph Curry definitely Hall of Fame.
He about to win. He gonna win in league MVP. He gonna win Finals MVP. He gonna book in that first championship, and then two with Durant, and then another one without Durant. Oh boy, it's about to get nice out here.
Yeah.
Shout out to them though, man, if they win this today.
All right. Xbox Bethesda showcase. we did it live, and then we kind of talked about it after the fact. Well, immediately after it was over. Now we're about a good 4 days removed from the showcase. I wanted to kind of go through the games one by one, not go like super deep with everything, but kind of just go through what our thoughts were with those games. And then we can kind of talk about what we felt about that show overall. So, if I recall correctly, you gave the show a 7.5.
Nope. I gave it a viewing pleasure, like actually the setup of the show itself, like just viewing it, an 8. But when it came to like games that I was interested in playing, because most of those games I wasn't into, I gave it a 6 on that regard.
Okay. I gave it a 7.5. That's and as far as after recording all of the trailers of everything that they showed, after all it's all said and done, and seeing things again, and seeing like I definitely can tell when I started to lose interest in the show, when I started to get frustrated with what they were showing or not showing.
Right.
It's still a 7.5 to me. I think it was a good show, but unfortunately, no wow moments for me. No games that are like you gotta play this game. No system seller kind of games. No games that really are on par with like the first party games of their competition, unfortunately. First one they did show though, they started the show with Redfall gameplay. Now this is actually one of the games that I'm interested in playing, and for the validation of the fact that I told y'all this was Borderlands with vampires, and people kept saying Left 4 Dead. In Left 4 Dead you can't play solo, okay?
Right.
In Borderlands, you have skill trees. You don't have skill trees in Left 4 Dead. In Borderlands, you get loot for guns, and you don't get that in Left 4 Dead. It's not freaking Left 4 Dead. Now, that said, the person playing the game in the gameplay trailer,
trash.
Don't ever let them play a first-person shooter ever again. I mean, shooting all around the vampire. I'm just like, what the heck?
Blake with a shotgun.
Yeah, with a shotgun, no less. And then the vampires, I kind of wonder if they like put them on like extra stupid difficulty just to kind of make it like easier for this person who can't play first-person shooters to play the game. I think they should have just got a better person to do it. That said, and despite the fact that they don't have co-op progression for everyone that's not the host, I'm still interested in playing this game because these are the kind of games that I'm into. I'm into looters. I'm into games that are in that vein of Borderlands. I'm actually about to get into Borderlands 2 on PC real soon and build up another character. That's just how much I love that game. It's one of my favorites of all time. So I'm all in on this game. Forte, what about you?
When I saw it, the first time I saw it, I was like, cause we did the stream together and we were talking about the Borderland comparisons. The one thing I really like is the fact that they're not following that template with the cell shaded technology that they were using. I feel like that's kind of been overdone a lot, and it's nice to see that this type of game with that type of gameplay is being implemented. I like the overall humor that the characters have, the banter that they probably have in and this is with us basically just assuming that that banter is going to be kind of persistent throughout the characters as they're playing the game too. So I'm hoping that that still stays part of it, because that's kind of keeps it more light and hearted and stuff. So I like that. I like the powers. I like the fact that they have every last one of them have their own power sets and their overall viability to the gameplay itself. That looked really, really cool. Some of those player models, I don't know, man. They didn't look all that good.
You mean the enemy models?
No, the characters themselves.
Oh, so you don't think they're very unique or descriptive? So
No.
It seems like Layla's like the the star, and then the rest of them are just kind of there. They fit the format of Borderlands characters. Like they got the one guy, the Hispanic dude who has a bird. And he's a sniper. I mean, like that's Mordecai from Borderlands 1. They got the girl who's like a soldier. Like, all right, so she's Roland / Axel from, you know, Borderlands 1 and 2. You know, it just seems like, and Layla is a siren. It just seems like they hit like all these character archetypes pretty well, but like, oh, the motion blur is killing me. I can't keep looking at it. But it's it's look. I don't want to harp on it for too long. It's still a game I'm interested in playing.
I'm definitely playing the game. I think it's a really cool game. I like the direction it's going. It's going to be a really cool 4-player co-op game. The fact that we finally got a chance to see it, I'm definitely looking forward to when it does release at the beginning of the year. And even if this game wasn't in Game Pass, and I try to tell people this all the time, that was a game I was going to be interested in after seeing it. Even if it wasn't in Game Pass, I just wanted to see what the game was about. And I always tell people, when you see these CGI trailers, don't think that the game's gonna look like that. Because I remember during that stream, me and you both said, this game ain't gonna look like this.
Right.
And guess what? It didn't look like that. So
but then it also looks better than the alpha footage we saw. The people trying to say, this is what it's gonna look like. Like, stop it. That's not what it's gonna look like.
If that alpha footage was 16 months ago, that was about it. Probably how long ago it was.
Hey, Ramos, don't erase Ken Hall's comment. That comment wasn't disrespectful or anything. He just said, I get the Xbox Showcase 7, very disappointing show for me. That wasn't warranted of deleting his comment. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but like that, only delete comments, mods, only delete comments for people being disrespectful to one another in the chat or the host. We can guess. That's the only time you did. Next up was Hollow Knight Silksong, which was another game that was leaked by the Snitch on Twitter. Shout out to him for yet another one. Absolutely right. This one is going to be day one in Game Pass at launch, and it looks pretty cool. I've never played Hollow Knight. Don't know if I will play it, but I know a lot of people who love Hollow Knight were very hyped for this, and this game has been on people's radar for like 3 years now, and it's good to see. It looks pretty cool. What about you, Forte? You gonna play this one?
I am. I played the original Hollow Knight. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is Hollow Knight Part 2, basically. And did they put a release date on that yet?
There was very few release dates.
Was this one of the 22 or 23 games?
What do you mean?
Was it 2022 or 2023?
I don't even remember. Like I mean, I don't remember.
I'm definitely gonna give.
There were very few actual release dates at the show.
Oh no! Even Plague Tale that had a release date doesn't have a release date anymore. It just says summer.
Asobo did have a. We'll get to that one later. We'll get to that one. Blade X says this one is 2023, which is unfortunate.
Oh, it is 2023.
This is one of the better looking games, and it just seemed like that was a theme. So cool. That was a theme of a lot of the games in the show. The ones that looked the best were games that weren't coming out this year, unfortunately. But
yeah.
Next one though, I thought was actually pretty cool. It was the first time ever seeing this game, and I think it showed extremely well. And this is High on Life. And so High on Life is coming from the creators of Rick and Morty. More than likely they are not actually making the game, but it's kind of like South Park, where they're kind of working with the actual developer. The creators of South Park worked with Obsidian for and then Ubisoft for the first two South Park games. This looks like this is Rick and Morty working with some developer. I forgot the name of that developer. I think it's Squanch Games, which I've never heard of them before. But this looks cool. It looks very extremely colorful. I like that the guns talk to you. The art style reminds me of Psychonauts. It's very unique. And all the I like games where guns have unique features and abilities,
have personalities and stuff too.
Yeah, that's very much kind of like Borderlands for me. So like, yeah, this is something I'm super interested in. What about you, Forte?
That was the first game, even outside of Redfall. That was the first game where I was like, oh, I really like this. I think I said it during the stream. I was like, I really like that. I like games that have that don't take themselves too serious and they have a sense of humor. And that game oozes it. And plus, I was looking at like the color palette, and I was looking at like the water. I was like, look at the water. The water was green and all, but I was looking at it, I was like, yo, this looks really good. And every game doesn't have to be this ultra realistic graphical showcase. You can have something that has a cartoony nature to it and still make it look phenomenal. See Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. And this game right here kind of takes the cake when it comes to that. So I'm definitely interested in that. But that was the first game of the show where I was like, yo, I don't care what this game is. It's cool. And I'm 90% know I'm going to play this when it comes out. And guess what? It's in Game Pass. So you ain't even got to buy it.
Right. Next up was, I think, an announcement that kind of went under the radar. It was very, very underrated. And this is the announcement of 5 of Riot Games' games coming to Game Pass. Now, I noticed a lot of people who are just strictly Xbox console gamers like kind of poo-poo this announcement. Why is this here? I don't care about this. And I understand why, because none of these games are coming to Xbox, at least not at this point in time. Riot is a primarily PC gamer that's getting into mobile, but these 5 games, League of Legends, Wild Rift, Valorant, and I forgot the other 2, but they're mostly mobile games. But the big most popular parts of these 5 games is Valorant and League of Legends. League of Legends is among the most played games on the PC platform. When people talk about like how like there are more PC gamers total than say any individual platforms and consoles, like even more than just like the totality of PlayStation gamers, but then they see like the sales of these games and they see like, oh well, like how come God of War didn't sell like it did on PlayStation? You look at where people were playing League of Legends, and League of Legends it's a worldwide like popular game, and you're gonna be able to get all the champions unlocked, which is an attractive option for a lot of people who are into that game. Now it will be available within the Windows Store the Xbox app, which people on PC hate because it sucks. So that might be a drawback to it, but I think you might get some people who might be like, man, I think I'm good with that because I get all these champions for free. The other one is Valorant, which is still a PC only game. It doesn't even have controller support. It's all mouse and keyboard, which is the reason why I don't play it. But Valorant is massively popular. Very good game. It's not on. This will be the first like actual PC launcher it's on. This is a huge get for them because it's not even on Steam. It's not on GOG, Epic Game Store, ain't nothing. It's not even on Steam. And now Valorant is going to be on the Xbox app on PC, which is like, that's going to be massive for people who like probably wanted to try out Valorant but didn't know that the only way to get it was to go to the Riot Games website for Valorant. And so this is big for them because it really helps them gain a bigger footprint on the PC arena. But what they really going to need to do is make sure that Xbox app gets better, because if the games don't perform well, PC gamers don't care that they were able to just sub to a subscription and get that. If the game doesn't perform well, they're going to go back to whatever versions that they were playing those games before. They'll go back to just downloading it through the Valorant, through the Valorant website. They'll go back to playing League of Legends on Steam. They're not going without all the champions because it performs better. And so that's the key thing there they got to work on. Forte, what do you think about it?
I think it's a really good, it shocked me when I saw it. I was like, it's not a huge get for just the console space in general, but to have, just like you said, Valorant being on a launcher, that's a big deal. Like, people a lot of people didn't even know that Valorant wasn't on the launch. It was like, oh, they probably just assumed they could play it on Steam until it came out that no, it's not even available on Steam. It's not available anywhere. You just download it directly from the Valorant website as its own standalone launcher and stuff. So I think that's really cool. Getting all the champions unlocked for the game, that's cool. Same thing with League of Legends, having access to all the champions. No need to go in and pay any money or stuff like that. Already unlocked or already have currency to already take advantage of all the stuff in the game. It really gets people that never played games like that a really good opportunity to give them a try to see if it's something they can get into. Because let's be real, League of Legends, one of the biggest games in the world. Valorant, one of the biggest upcoming games inside of the world, especially if it's like that Counter-Strike game that everybody definitely wants to just give it a try to see exactly if it can overtake Counter-Strike at some point. And the biggest thing with Counter-Strike is it's on the biggest PC launcher in the world. Mm-hmm. It's been something that's been going on for decades at this point. So I think this is a really, really good move for them to have some type of competitive, ultra competitive shooter available in their ecosystem on their launcher. Like you said, it's only going to be on the PC side because there's no controller support. But I do think at some point, if it does really, really well, I can see Valorant getting controller support at some point. Remember, Counter-Strike didn't have controller support at one point. Now it does. It's still better to play that game with mouse and keyboard, but it does have controller support. So this might be a avenue to get the game on a console base at some point, just like how Counter-Strike, think about it, Counter-Strike made its first debut on console on Xbox 2 a long time ago. So that's kind of where the roots kind of rebuilt that. So I do think this is a really good move to them, but I do think it just makes it more accessible for people to play those games and stuff. So when you launch into your PC launch, you say, oh, what's this Valorant about? And you just download it and then you start playing, and next thing you know, you might just be addicted to it.
Right. Next was a game I've been looking forward to for a little while now. And it's a Sobo's game. It's A Plague's Tale. And this one is a sequel to A Plague's Tale. It was a Plague's Tale Innocence, was it? The first one?
Yes, it was Innocence.
Okay, but now this was A Plague's Tale Requiem, and it's a sequel to the previous one. I think the girl's name is Alicia, the main character. She's a bit older. Mm-hmm. She's a bit more vicious. The game looks better.
You can be really good with remembering stuff when you want to be.
Who, me?
Yeah, because Luke always says you got a bad memory, but you remember a lot of stuff.
Because
for a
I don't
person
have
that can't remember anything.
That's because Luca is trying to make herself feel better about her bad memory. I actually have a great memory.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, got you.
But no, I'm excited for this game. I was a little disappointed because it was supposed to be coming out this month, but then they just said 2022. I'm just like, yo, what happened to your release date? And then they came out with a tweet earlier this week saying they were going to have a live stream to discuss the game, other things that Sobo is doing, and they're going to have an official release date for the game sometime this month. I can't remember which day it's supposed to be, but I'm looking forward to this one. What about you, man?
Yeah, the first one was really, really cool. It took me a while to get through it. Not because I didn't want to play. It was just, Destiny always being in the way. Really, really cool game. This one looks phenomenal. And maybe I forget the kid's name, her brother's
Hugo.
name. Maybe Hugo. Maybe he won't be as obnoxious as he was.
Yo, he's one of the most annoying children in the video game in history of video games. He's up there with that kid's super annoying.
No, he was super annoying in the first one. Like, just getting him out of the house in the first one was like, oh my God, you're so fucking annoying. No, that was, I remember when they first showed this game back in, what was it, 2020? I think they showed it back in 2020 for the first time at the Xbox Showcase.
The sequel? Because they first showed the sequel last year.
Was it okay, it was last year they showed.
Yeah, they first showed the sequel last year.
everything blends together with the last 2 years. But yeah, I remember when they showed, I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be it." And I remember this conversation being with Asobo. He's like, "When is Microsoft just gonna go ahead and put a ring on it?"
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
this is very similar to like how I feel about Square and Sony, but on a much smaller scale because Asobo is just a developer. But Asobo is the developer that does Microsoft Flight Simulator. They have a contract with Xbox and Microsoft for 10 years to support that game. And this game, Plague's Tale, they got it in Game Pass at launch. I'm like, bro, like, what are y'all waiting for?
yeah,
Just
it's
go
just,
ahead and just make this official. Like they're an excellent developer. They make quality games. I think visually. I'll say this about Xbox, and I don't think many people can disagree, or would disagree, that Xbox studios don't seem to have a flair for realistic visuals, like for the most part. Not all of them.
Right.
I'm not saying all of them can't do it, but a vast majority of them don't tend to lean toward that ultra realistic look of visuals. And Asobo, if you look at a Plague's Tale, like Requiem looks better than the previous one, but the first one looked really good. Like the character models look great, and this was with them like with like a flimsy budget for the game. Focus Entertainment, Focus Entertainment is a good publisher, but they don't tend to publish big AAA titles all the time. It's usually like some high quality AA stuff, and so and that's what the first game was. It's a high quality AA game, and I would love to see Asobo have the opportunity to have with a blank checkbook, be able to really show what they're capable of doing in that game that's not a simulator and an actual original title that they're working on. So hopefully that's something that might end up happening in the future. You good with this one?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's like they made the characters even look more. I mean, they're older and stuff, but they just look so much more mature. And like I said, I just hope Hugo doesn't get on my nerves. That's right. What matters.
So we got also Forza Motorsport, which I was correct in my prediction. My predictions were all over the place, but at least I got this one right. That Forza Motorsport will be shown at the show, but it was not going to come out this year. It's coming out next year, and it's slated for 2023. They didn't give an exact date or anything like that, but they did show race racing, not just with new Forza Tech 2.0 engine, race racing in the actual gameplay. Even though this is all in-game 4K footage, so this is not like actual gameplay, it's just in-engine footage, but that's what they intend on having, race racing while you're racing in the game, in addition to whatever other features that simulation racers have. I don't know, man. I don't play these things. Do you play these, Forte?
I do. I played every motorsport up until this point, and I think just looking at this one, ray tracing on track, customization of the cars and of your overall riding experience is really cool. I love the presentation.
Yes, Blade X, they showed PC footage. It wasn't Xbox footage.
Oh, it was definitely PC footage.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was freaking gorgeous. But let's be for real. When you look at Forza Horizon and look at it between Xbox and PC, it's pretty freaking close, bro. It's like if you just blinked, you could get one confused with the other. So it's gonna look amazing and great anyways. It just comes down to the frame rate and the stability and how much better it's gonna run on console. How much better it's gonna run on PC versus console. But the cool thing about that is, the only thing I like about the PC, the console side of it, is ray tracing isn't amped up to a point where it's going to be detrimental to your frame rate. It's going to kill you. They're still going to target 60 frames per second for the game. I think they're going to probably have 20 hertz version of the game when it comes to non-ray tracing. So probably 1440p, 120, then 4K 60 with ray tracing, because racing games aren't that demanding. But anybody that looks at this game and says this game doesn't look phenomenal, I don't know what you're looking at. These are showpiece games, and the fact that Microsoft hasn't had they have Forza. Like, the thing about Horizon has the environments in Horizon look amazing. and the cars look good too, but they're secondary to the environment. The environments is what make the cars stand out. Where Forza Motorsport, the cars just stand out immensely. There's like a higher polygon count on those cars because it's not an open world, it's on a track. So it's not open world. So they can go even more into the details of the suspension and the cars. You can see every little piece of every little engine component, and it looks so good. And I'm definitely interested in that and playing that again. And I actually jumped back into Forza 7 just to get like kind of a taste of what the track-based racing has been like, because we haven't played it in like 3-4 years at this point. It's been like 2017 or something since the last one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is going to look like. The only thing that is crazy to me is that game, I think they said is slated for spring.
Yeah, they said spring.
There's a lot of games. Like, you got to think Starfield, you got to think Redfall. Those games.
Some of those games may not make their time slide. Like, I
gonna make the first 6 months.
We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
Go ahead. Yeah, but that's what I think of that game. I'm excited for it.
Cool. Next, they show Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I said before is being developed by Asobo, and they had an update. Look, I don't play this, so I don't care. There's an update, a free update that was available the day of the show, where you could drive or fly the Pelican from Halo, and you could go into like the upper atmosphere and look at like Earth from, near space area, I guess. I don't know. I don't care about this. Forte, you care at all? Forte?
Yeah, what'd you say? No, you broke up for a second. Did you? Oh, you asked me?
Yeah, like, do you care about this flight sim update at all?
Not as much as I cared about the Top Gun one, because I'm a huge Top Gun fan. Top Gun one was a little bit more substantial. They added like custom tracks to the game, like trenches and Star Wars Canyon. They added all that stuff. They added different modes to it, where this one is just excuse me, where this one is just load up into the Pelican and go wherever you want to go. Yeah. which is cool. You can take it to the outer edge of space, which was cool. I did download it just to see, and I think a lot of people are going to do that. Am I going to put as much time in the Pelican as I did in the F-18?
Nope.
Nah. Because that F-18 is a whole nother beast. When you start playing, like, anybody that has, like, the fact that I had to break out my flight stick, because I never break it out for anything, because I haven't broken out since I played Ace Combat 7. But when I broke it out, I was like, man, I want to play with this flight stick and see what it's like. And I started playing Top Gun with it, and I was like, oh, this is great. But then the Pelican was like, this was a cool experience just to try it out just once. So it's nothing excited, but I'm glad it's there. And it just shows the commitment that Asobo, once again, Microsoft put a ring on it, shows the commitment that Asobo is to updating that game. But you know what the most horrendous thing in that game is, Slow-Mo? The prices of those planes.
We're not gonna get into that. I do not want to talk about that, and we got too many games to get into.
It's so bad. I wouldn't have to go buy a jet.
Forte, I literally just said I don't want to talk about the prices. You just continue to just go on and talk about. We're moving on.
I wanted
Overwatch
to buy a fighter jet, and it costs too much money.
I don't care. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator. Overwatch 2 is shown. Free to play, which is that's a little bit of shock. Oh, shout out to the Snitch again, because the Snitch revealed that
was a really good tweet the way he did it too.
Yeah, because only people who knew of the motto of the Overwatch group, which is kind of like within that universe, like the Avengers, would have known what he was saying, and it said free to play. But it was pretty cool. Yeah, so this was free to play now. Which I think is probably a smart idea to help kind of get people back into it, because I think Overwatch has now become a bit of a disappointment to people, even the people who were long time big time fans of it. And shout out to Smiles in the chat. I used to play Overwatch with Smiles and a couple other people all the time, and I probably for about 3 or 4 months straight. It's just like what I played every single day, and unfortunately stopped playing it because I got bored. But I I kind of look at this and I look at like visually, I don't see a massive improvement in it. They do have a PvE mode now, but I kind of feel like I know for a fact originally all this stuff was supposed to be a big major expansion to the game of Overwatch, the original game, and then it became a sequel, but I don't see quite yet what about it deserved to be a sequel. And then you made it free to play, which, you know, so it's just going to be, hopefully, if this is free to play now, any other updates, there's going to be no Overwatch 3. It's just going to keep iterating off of that. But I mean, I'm going to play this. The beta is available now. If you don't know, you can go sign up for the beta. The beta is coming out in October, I think. So like I'm definitely trying to get in on that. Forte, what do you think about Overwatch 2? Is this something you're interested in?
I played a bunch of the original Overwatch 1. I was shocked that it was free to play, but then I was also shocked when they were doing betas for it, because I knew that it was a thing, but I was like, is that soon? And then once I started talking to people that actually got into the beta for Overwatch 2, they just said that, it's just new maps, and they overhauled some of the character structures. They took it from being a 6v6 to a 4v4 or 5v5 now. Mm-hmm. So they made it more, it's not as congested inside of the arena anymore, which for balance purposes will probably be a better way. They made it so you can only have one tank on the field versus multiple tanks, because some people, teams before, you can just have a bunch of tanks on the field. Now you can only have one. So I think the changes they're making are good, but I think it's just the fact that when you put a 2 at the end of something, it kind of garners, it garners more attention. And I think, and I think that's probably why they went free to play, because they know it's going to garner more attention because it has a 2 on the end of it. And the expectations are going to be something like, okay, what are they adding to the game? But the fact that they're making it free to play is going to kind of damper it a little bit, and people are going to be like, okay, well, it's free to play, so it doesn't matter, so I'm just going to jump in and play it. And I guarantee there's probably going to be something for like long time standing people that play Overwatch, that when you jump into Overwatch 2, there's going to be some type of progression where not maybe your stats and stuff won't carry over, but your overall character, like, it'll probably be something they'll get you for like characters and stuff for people that have like maxed out characters on the original one.
I don't think they're gonna give you anything, man. I don't think they're gonna give you anything. No, heck yeah, it's a free to play game now.
Well, I'm thinking, well, you gotta be
the original game. The original game charged you $40 on PC, $60 on consoles, and they hit you with loot boxes.
That's true. That's true.
Now it's free.
That's true.
Nothing. They will give you nothing. Everything's gonna be, hey, loot box or straight up pay for it. So those are the options you're gonna get.
That's true.
Moving on to our History Untold, which is I mean, look, this was this is one of the very few CG trailers they had during the show. It's supposed to be a turn-based strategy game. I didn't even get that vibe from it. I didn't know what this was. I thought this was like a Civilization or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not interested in this. Force, are you interested in it?
Nope, hard pass.
All right, moving on. This is where the show really started to drag, by the way. Like, so this is where people were just like, bro, what are we doing here? And I think it was more to do with like how they structured their lineup, because no one cares about some of these games. And then they put all of their updates, like this next one, Elder Scrolls Online High Isle, is a expansion update. The only people who care about this are people who are playing ESO.
Yeah.
So if I'm not playing ESO, I'm really like, look, this looks interesting, but I don't really care like that. Like, what do you think, Forte?
I really didn't care. When I saw it, it was like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I just started thinking of Starfield. I started thinking of, I wonder what they're going to show to pick this back up.
Yeah.
Like, where I said,
you want to know what they showed to pick this back up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Boom! Fallout 76, an even worse performing game with an expansion. Fallout 76, the Pit DLC. Here again is what I'm talking about. You show another game that's already out that has a set community. This one even smaller than the ESO community, with an expansion that's only going to be interesting to people who are playing the game. Meanwhile, the rest of us is just like, yo, all right. So this is where the show really like, yeah, this stuff exactly, Mixie. Exactly, Mixie dies a lot. This could have been saved for the extended showcase on Tuesday. Matter of fact, the previous trailer for ESO, this one, and the next one I'm about to show you, which is the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels, which is actually a really cool trailer for a game that's very successful. When they did Hot Wheels before, it was wildly popular. I can see it being wildly popular again this time, but yet this is not stuff that you want to see right now.
I give him a pass on this one.
You give him a pass on this one?
I give him a pass on this one.
Because it's Hot Wheels and it's Forza Horizon?
Mostly because it's Hot Wheels. Because I remember when that Hot Wheels game came out, I think me and you were in a party. We were doing DPS. We were doing topics, and we were talking about that Hot Wheel game. It was like, I wonder if Forza Horizon is going to get a Hot Wheel game now that there's a Hot Wheel game out. So, right. Well, look, so this was just more. The only reason I'm happy it was there is because I didn't think we were going to get it. Because, we didn't get it last year. Well, Forza Horizon 4, we didn't get it. We got Legos for that one. Mm-hmm. So this one, we're getting Hot Wheels back. And I feel like the Hot Wheels one was so much better, especially when it comes to the track creator. It was really good. So I agree. Did it have to be here at this showcase? It could have been in the extended showcase. That probably would have been a better place for it to be at. Let me say, actually shown.
This one probably would have been fine in the actual showcase. It's just the fact that you showed it after showing expansions for 2 other games that are even less successful. It's like by the time people got to this one, it's just like, again, this is not a new game. And people are just like, people start to get frustrated with the fact that this is how you kind of threw all this stuff all together, which is not smart. They could have kind of put this in between 2 other like brand new titles that we hadn't seen before, and then maybe people wouldn't have like the same kind of mindset of like, not again. Right. And then what didn't help is the very next game that they showed, which didn't show great the first time, Arc 2. And bro, look. Shout out to Vin Diesel. No shot to Vin Diesel whatsoever, but I'm sorry. I don't care about Ark. It's a survival game. That's me. Maybe that's just me. I know people care about survival games. I don't think anybody really cares about Vin Diesel in a game.
No, they don't. Why? Not ever since Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick.
Right. And now, here's the issue, right? Because Ark was shown last year. When it was announced, it was a CG trailer. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing another trailer, but it's another CG trailer. Like, this is where I have an issue with how games are marketed. Don't show me multiple of the same. Like, at this point, I want to see gameplay. I don't want to see another CG trailer. If I really care about the game, I don't care about this game. But if you're gonna, like, when you first announce a game, if you're gonna do a teaser trailer or just a blanket announcement or a CG trailer announcement, that's fine. But the very next time you show that game, you better show gameplay. If you can't show gameplay, don't show any. This had no point being here. I don't think it had any point being here. What do you think?
I agree, 100%. I was like, no one cared then. Well, the only thing that I will say, shout out to Dizzy, because I know he loved Ark, and every time I see that trailer, every time I see that trailer, every time I see anything with Ark, I will always say shout out to Dizzy. So that was the only good thing that came from seeing that there. Could have just reminded me of the great man that we lost over a year ago, Dizzy. But outside of that, no, man, don't nobody care about no Vin Diesel in the video game, because this isn't Chronicles of Riddick, unless you were going to tell me that you're remaking that game. Because that was an amazing game. Unless you're telling me you're doing that, I don't care. And Ark is a game that a lot of people like. They like the whole work aspect of it, and you have to train and build, settlements.
We know what Ark is, Forte. Should have been here. No, that's all. It should not have been here, and
No, it
and
shouldn't
that's
have been
definitely not put in the order after a bunch of stuff that no one cared to see, and from games that were already announced. This is the very next unannounced game that you show us is Ark. Bad. Then they went from bad to worse because they showed this next. Freaking Scorn. I'm sorry, I don't get the appeal to this at all. I don't want to play Scorn. I don't want to do anything. I don't want anything to do with this game. It is disgusting looking. I know that might appeal to some whole Geiger or whatever you want to call it, like visual aesthetic. I want nothing to do with any of this. And it's just like, this was like in the middle of the show where I think a lot of people was just like, yo, they need to pick this up. They need to pick it up with something amazing and not this weirdo stuff with people pulling umbilical cords out of their stomach and shooting guns that look like they are like flailing objects. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not playing this. Are you playing this, man?
No, I'm not playing this. I don't even. Do you even see anybody that this appeals to?
I don't know anyone that wants to play this game.
Not nobody in the circles I run in.
No,
I don't either.
No, I don't know anybody that wants to play this game. I don't know why they keep showing it. They keep every time they do a show, they show Scorn, and I'm just like, bro, stop it, please stop.
Well, listen,
I can't wait for it to come out just so I can stop seeing it.
I give it. I don't know the way. Okay, so the only reason that it makes me interested in playing it is because of the HR Geiger. I'm a huge Alien fan, so it makes me want to play it because of that. But every time I see it, I'm like, man, this is like more stomach turning than I want in my video games.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's like, what are we doing here? It's like, is this a video game or is this like a nightmare simulator?
Yeah, and we don't even know what the gameplay really is.
We don't even know what the game is.
Is it like a Doom style first person shooter? Is it more stealth, or is it more survival? What is it? You don't even know. It just show you the most oddest, like, disgustingest stuff. Like, I'm tired of seeing alien people.
I just want to see the people. And like I said, I don't know. It just depends on when I get to that point. Because like I said, the only thing that made me, I said I'll probably try it out just because of the HR Gauger influences and stuff to it. But I want to see all these people on Twitter that use this as part of their list war. So we got Scorn coming out in 2022.
Yeah, I want to see like that was something to brag about. Don't nobody care about that.
All y'all playing Scorn. I want to see screenshots of. Never mind, I can't say that on this family show. Can't say what I was going to say, but I want to see everybody playing this game since they want to use this as part of their list wars.
You definitely not going to get that. Now, finally, the very next game that was shown was something that was worthwhile. It was Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. The very first time this game was ever shown. Definitely gave me vibes of like kind of like a Souls-ish kind of combat. Man, look, this game looked cool. I like that they got a female protagonist of color, which I'm down with that. They show a little bit of like the boss fights and stuff. The combat looked cool. And even though this is being made by like a kind of like an indie developer, it looks like they're punching above their weight a bit here. I like the combat again. What did you think about Flintlock?
I liked it a lot. I liked the what was that, an axe that they have in her hand or something? What was the weapon that she had?
She's got a pistol in one hand and an axe in the other.
It was an axe in the other. I knew about the pistol. Yeah, at first I was looking at it, I was like, this looks weird. And then the more and more I started like looking at it, and I saw the gunplay mixed with the melee action and then the acrobatical stuff that he was doing in the game. I was like, this is probably the most entertaining thing that they have at this show. Like when it comes to like a game that a lot of people want to play, the type of game that people want to play, like the mature rated games and stuff like that. I think people really, really were in tune to that. And I think that's the thing that was kind of missing from the showcase overall when it comes to games like this being shown more consistently. But yeah, this was the first game that I was like, yo, this looks really, really good. I mean, I didn't get it at first. It didn't click to me until I started seeing the combat. Then I was like, oh, okay, this looks legit. So it's definitely a game that I'm definitely gonna it's gonna be on a radar. But once again, 2023,
yeah, another game that's not coming out to next year, not anytime soon on the Xbox platform. Next was Minecraft Legends, which is a RTS game. So it's Minecraft, but it's RTS. So this is like very similar to how they did Minecraft Dungeons, which was a like an action RPG. And this one now is like a different genre, but just using the Minecraft IP. Which, you know, hey, this probably will end up being on every platform like Minecraft Dungeons was, and it's likely going to be very popular because Minecraft is super popular. It's one of the more popular IPs in the entire world. So I think you're going to get a lot of kids actually trying out a different kind of game genre, and maybe they may actually like it. What do you think, man?
I agree with you 100%. I really this is something I could definitely see myself playing with my kid, because I remember shout out to Eric Jackson. I remember me, you, and him play Minecraft Dungeons with my daughter that one time. She always reminded me. She's like, yeah, she's always reminded. She said, when could we play Minecraft Dungeons? I said, I got to see if I get this crew together so we can go in there and do it again, because Minecraft Dungeon was really cool, and I really like the adaptations that they do when it comes to Minecraft. You know, because everybody don't want to just play old, samey, boring Minecraft where you play Legos and video games. You know, I like the direction they're going, and they're doing more things with Minecraft outside of just a traditional model. And getting this type of game, I think it's going to be really, really cool. I think Minecraft is a really good game to like kind of broaden people into more traditional games. So now we get the dungeon crawler, so you get the Diablo style game, and now you're going to get this one that's going to give you more of that type of gameplay. And I think it's going to broaden more people's opinion, their overall ability to play other games and stuff outside of the Minecraft universe. So Microsoft's doing a couple of good things when it comes to that, and I like that they allow Mojang to basically not just make the same thing over and over again when it comes to Minecraft.
Yeah, it's actually smart business in order to like branch out. You have a very wildly popular IP that's already very much like a anything and everything kind of game as it is. Then like you can kind of like take the IP and adapt it in other ways, and you know it works. You know, like Minecraft Story Mode, that was the Telltale game. You know, like I don't know how successful it was, but like that was the beginning of it, and I see they're continuing it on. I think it's a smart idea. The next game shown, I gotta admit, I don't remember anything from this. This is Lightyear Frontier. Wait, no, this is the Space Farmer game. Yeah, I'm definitely not playing this crap.
Oh no, I remember I was making this slow mo. I said you don't want to make a settlement on another planet. He's like, I was like, I didn't even play No Man's Sky, so I definitely don't want to do this.
Exactly. So we can wait, do you want to play this?
No, color palette looks good. I like the colors, but no.
Yeah, we don't play games for colors, so this will be a big pass for all of us.
Well, colors do make games stand out, especially if you have an OLED.
Moving on. Hey, look, if you're out there and you wanna like go on a new planet and raise crops, have fun.
Raise crops.
Have fun. Not me though. Next game was Gunfire Reborn. It looked like this one was like a Souls-like co-op game. Which
already out on PC.
Is already out on PC. I've never played this before. The cartoony. I mean, I guess not. I'm not gonna say it's a turn off completely. I don't know. This game just doesn't look like all that appealing to me. Maybe if the aesthetic was different, if the setting was different, I might be more interested. But I'm not really interested in doing some kind of first-person shooter roguelike with a bunch of people, and I'm playing as like a fox and you're playing as a badger. I'm good. You know, I can skip that.
Well, this is where the cell shaded technology, like the biggest difference, like you said, high on life. completely two different games, but the aesthetic makes it more appealing due to the fact that the weapons have the personality instead of the characters trying to have it, because we have a lot of instances where characters try to have the personality that kind of make you want to try the game, but then that is also married with the way that the game and the presentation of the game. And when I look at this, I'm like, no, this looks like something that was made in Roblox, and I don't really want to do that. At least when it comes to a game like High on Life, where I can see that there is a production minimum put on it, where they say we're gonna at least make this game look really, really good, but we're gonna have quirky mechanics in it where the guns are gonna basically have a personality and you're just the wielder of the gun. And that's more of an entertaining value to me, that I was like, okay, I can definitely see myself playing this due to that. Because guess what, Slow-Mo? I played Garden Warfare, Plants vs. Zombie Garden Warfare, and guess what? It was because the plants had personality, and it was cool just listening to them talk and do all this other crazy stuff. That was a fun game. This doesn't look like that, because first of all, it doesn't even look as good as Plants vs. Zombies that came out back in 2013.
Yeah, this is 2022, so.
Right, exactly.
Next was the last case of Benedict Fox. This looks good. This is one of the few games that I was like, you know, when this comes out, I'm gonna play this game, because I love the aesthetic. It's a side scroller, which I'm never like too big on side scrollers, but the combat looked fire. Like, I really liked what they were going with this game. I'm gonna check this one out. What do you think about this one?
I will. I do like the overall way that it looked as a side scroller. It looked like the side scrolling games are getting more and more complex, where the environments are actually you can actually interact with the environments in a more three-dimensional way, even in the 2D plane. It looks really, really cool. It's definitely a game that I am looking at, but it's a game that I will wait to see other people play, just to see what their reaction and stuff is to it, because it's not like, I've never really been into games like this. Like, as much as I know games like Quarry and stuff like that are really, really good, games like Limbo, I just never really got into them, even though, and I know they were good games, it just never has been a genre that I got into. Like, the last time I played a side-scrolling game that I really, really loved was, I want to say, Shadow Complex, which is kind of in line with stuff like this, but I just never like consistently got into them. But seeing it at the showcase, the diversity was there. I really liked what I saw. It just comes down to, is it what else is coming out in spring 2023 that's gonna not make me where this game is going to get picked over something else? That's the problem right there.
Yeah, like like this summer would have been the perfect time for this game to come out.
Yeah, it should have came out this year.
Yeah, but then you can't rush.
You can't force development. Right. Yeah.
Next was something that we talked about earlier, As Dusk Falls, which does come out, I think, sometime this, like July. It comes out next month, right? This one is as we dubbed it, the PowerPoint game. and I think some people may have some issues with the way the characters don't move, but like, as you see, like in this car accident, the car moves. Stuff in the environment moves, but the characters don't, and I think that might turn some people off. But if you're into Telltale kind of games, if you're into Supermassive, Quantic Dream kind of games, where there's a lot of choices, there's a lot of characters, an interesting story, like, it seems like that is what this developer, I think Ant Knight is a developer, is trying to rely on. Forte, also, by the way, this one will have co-op at launch. It's going to have 6-player co-op. Did I say 6 or 8? It's one of those.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, this game, yeah, definitely interested in it. The biggest thing with this game is just like you said, I think once you get past the aesthetic of it looking like it's running at 5 frames per second for just do it. But I do like the overall aesthetic of the environments. It's always persistent, but the characters are still.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of bring, honestly, it kind of like the storytelling that can be done in that. It kind of brings more of a dramatic feeling to a scene, because now you're looking at this character like they just showed the character standing in front of a house that's burning. So now you're just looking at a character like, what are they really experiencing sitting? Like, what are they looking at? Houses burning behind them. What is so riveting that's in front of them, or so puzzling that they see in front of them that they're not literally running away from this burning house? So it kind of just makes you start thinking of things like that, because there's like, it's kind of a reaction type thing. So they always been really, really good at storytelling and stuff like that. And I think this is probably going to be just as good as all the rest of their games. But in general, I think that I just think people just got to get past just the aesthetic choice of how they went out to present this game to people. And once you get past that, just base it on the story. And as long as the story is good, that's all that matters.
Right. Like I said, I'm always into these kind of games. So when this comes out, I'm definitely going to play it in Game Pass. I'm interested in seeing how the story plays out, and I'll see for myself whether the way they do the characters and the way they've animated the characters to be basically like still shots that like just change and don't actually have like real animation and movement. Whether that's super annoying or not, but we'll see. Next up,
Dark Science said this is a board game.
It's a board game. Next up was a game that I've actually already played before, and this is Naraka Blade Point. This is I'm kind of shocked this was here, because Naraka Blade Point is been out on PC for about a year now. It looks like it's coming to Xbox, which is great and all, I guess, but it's I don't like it. I have two issues with this game. And I know a lot of people saw the combat was like, oh, that looks awesome. That looks interesting. It's different. It's like, a lot of like big open world environments and all melee combat. That's what I thought when I first saw this game. I covered it on my channel for a little while. For those who have been around for that long, I used to make videos about this game. And then I played it and found out this is a battle royale game. And now, although it looks better now than it did when I first played it in the beta, when I first played it, it looked bad visually, and it didn't play well. And I was just really frustrated because I thought this would be more of a big arena-sized hero shooter kind of thing. And I thought that you could be able to ambush other people fighting one another, but it was be like the way they showed the game was a lot of almost like it was like a mix of like a CG trailer but combat. And so I guess I got fooled thinking that was real combat, and it wasn't. And so Mickey Dazzler says they told you it was a battle royale game. At the launch of this, in the beginning, they did not say it was a battle royale game. They didn't say it was a battle royale game until it actually hit beta. Then you find out it was a battle royale game, and I was just like, I'm not interested. So, but that doesn't mean other people can't be interested in the game. More power to them. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. It's on Xbox, so they probably will make it cross play with PC, and so there'll be should be a good number of people to play it with. I know I see some streamers streaming this game occasionally, so it seems to have a community going. So hopefully that's having it on Xbox helps expand that community, but it's not for me. What about you, man?
When I saw it, I'm not huge into battle royales and stuff like that. They're funny. I wouldn't even. I'm already not into them when they're shooters, but a melee version of it, nah, man, they can keep this. I as soon as I saw, I was like, oh, this looks cool. I was like, maybe it's a hack and slash adventure game, but then I was like, oh, battle royale. Oh no, I'm out. I literally turned. I think I turned my head and started looking at something on my PC when the rest of that game was playing.
Yeah. So next was, oh boy, Pentiment, right? The RPG being made by Obsidian. Now, Obsidian is a great developer. I really enjoy their games. And what they went with this is being developed, led by director Josh Sawyer, who has done a lot of great work in the past. And Pentiment is essentially trying to do what was done with the hit RPG Disco Elysium, which I'm currently playing right now and really enjoying. Disco Elysium has a very unique art style and an isometric view, and it's not a game that's very high demanding, and was able to be developed by a very small team. But it's its highest qualities is that its story is awesome, and the game design is done very well. How you need to solve issues, and being careful with your stats, and having your character, who is a detective in Disco Elysium, be capable of being able to suss out when people are lying to you and figure out the truth behind things and investigate things properly. It's awesome. Disco Elysium's awesome. Not for everyone, but this is pretty cool. Pentiment, like, if you guys watched the stream when they first showed it, I laughed because I knew visually it was not going to be a looker, but I didn't think it was going to look this bad. Like, I don't feel the art direction with this. Like, you can have a less than photorealistic AAA kind of look and still have it not look like basic. And yeah, look,
basic.
I'm still gonna play this when it comes out in October because I like RPGs and I like Disco Elysium, and this is what it's kind of going for. That I like Obsidian, so you take all three of those together and just say I'm gonna play it. But man, when I first saw it, and I saw the way characters were moving and stuff, I was like, oh man, people gonna kill this game. Forte, what did you think about this when you saw it?
It looked like it didn't look all that good to me.
It didn't look like a game being made by a AAA developer.
No, and that was the thing.
By a publisher that has $1 trillion. Yeah.
It doesn't look like a company that just made a game called Outer Worlds. Doesn't look like a game and I'm not trying to say it needs to be look like those games, because there's different aesthetic choices you can make in the games you make. But even in this type of gameplay or this type of style of game, I feel like they could have did a lot better.
Yeah, I think it isn't just the fact that it's a cheaper, a smaller budget game from a smaller team. It's the art direction and the art style. As Gregor said in the chat, the art style and motion makes it look even cheaper. The art style just doesn't do it what probably would be a quality title in game design and story justice. Like, Disco Elysium is very similar in that it's not a art style that you would see from it's a game that isn't being developed with high quality assets and using Unreal Engine 4 and all kinds of great animations and stuff like that. It looks like a water painting, but the art style and the aesthetic works for Disco Elysium. I think maybe they should have did Middle Ages for a game that's trying to be like that. Maybe they should have went kind of like a cyberpunk route. If you want to have a detective trying to solve a murder or a crime, like who's trying to solve a murder in the Middle Ages? It just doesn't seem like it's just weird. It's just weird to me. I don't know. Force, are you gonna play this?
No.
I knew you weren't, but I just had to ask.
No.
Next was Grounded, another Obsidian game that isn't what people expected from Obsidian. This time though, Grounded's out of early access and now this is its full launch. And now it has a story. There's a story, a campaign in it. There's an ending to this. It's a completed game from beginning to end. Forte, you gonna play Grounded?
I don't even play Grounded now.
Yeah. You guys forced me to play Grounded because I lost a bet. And
those ladybugs.
Yeah, the ladybugs can go kick rocks. They're terrible people. The ants are bullies and gang members, and their mamas don't love them of how they treat it. And the spiders are absolutely ridiculous. I don't want to play that game. That said, it apparently is a quality survival game from people who like survival games. So cool. Look, I think, for the people who want those kind of games, they're going to enjoy it. It's probably going to get a decent review game. But I think for the majority of people who were already kind of mentally checked out with the way this showcase had been going, a grounded launch trailer wasn't exactly what they were looking for. What do you think?
I don't know, man. This I don't know. I don't care about.
Okay, we can move on.
Ground is a cool. Look, no, I don't care about.
Yeah, you don't care. We can move on. We can move on.
To say about Grounded.
Erebon Shadow Legacy. Now, I care about this game. This game looks cool. I like the style of it. I like that there's this character. Like, I'm not really big at the stealth games, but when you give me the tools to be able to like really dispatch enemies in cool ways, I'll give it a shot. It looks like your character has powers in the shadows. When if you're in the shadows, your abilities are strong. But if you get seen by the light, then you're vulnerable. Like, it looks cool. I like the art style. I like the combat, and it's doing something that we don't really see too many games doing. What do you think?
I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, I do like you said, the aesthetic. I mean, I always like robots and stuff like that. And this is the type of aesthetic I like when you're talking about different types of ways of playing the game, because they could have made this look completely different. But I think for the overall aesthetic they were going for, this is really, really cool. And I'm not really into stealth games and stuff like that, but I like how they actually went about doing and implementing the stealth mechanics inside of the game, where it doesn't seem, and then it seems like you also have the ability to attach, or not attach, but to attack and do whatever you want to be free in the game. Pretty much like how the Dishonored games and stuff were. I never liked games like Thief, where it's like, oh, if you get caught and there's more than more than one person, you're pretty much not going to make it through it because you have no way to defend yourself. And I like the way the Dishonored went about it. And I mean, until we get a chance to play this game, we won't get a chance to see that. But I do like the overall stealth mechanic that they're using, and going basically on the ground and using your shadow to basically get all the way around the map and stuff. They attach to the robots and stuff like that. I think that was a really, really cool aesthetic that they have. And it looks like they got some really good storytelling they're doing, not only from the character's perspective, but from the enemy's perspective as they're hunting her down and looking for her.
Yeah,
so it looks really cool.
Yeah, again,
aesthetic looks good though.
Unfortunately, another game coming out in 2023.
2023. Reminds you of all the things you're not going to play this year.
The next up was something I know that you're hyped for, Diablo 4, and I think it looked great. It looked really good. Can't wait to play this in 2023. It's like everything else. Yeah, look, man, this is fire. I'll let you take it away because I know you go gush over this one.
Oh no, I'm gonna keep it minimal. But listen, man, it's one PC. It's only one game on the Blizzard. Well, there's two, but the one that stays installed on my Blizzard launcher, which is Diablo 3. I have every Diablo game on that launcher. I enjoy Diablo. It was hot trash when it first launched because of the auction house, but once they fixed it, they made it so great. And I always dive in when a new season starts just to level up a character, see what the new systems and powers and new items they're giving you. It's really, really cool. And this game looks incredible. Like, it looks like a step up from what we got with Diablo 3, which it definitely should be at this point. I like the fact that it looks like, I think we're going to get a really, really good console port when it comes to that, because most people don't know the console version is really good. The Switch version is the best version of Diablo 3. It's even in some instances better than the PC version.
Just for content, not performance.
Just for content, yeah. Performance wise, the PC content,
clarify that.
Yeah. The PC side is good for overall performance, PC all day. But content wise, oh my god, the Switch version is freaking amazing. But I do look forward to when this game, once again, when is this game coming out? No one knows. I know that they have a beta that's going to be coming out for it, and I'm looking at some of the trailer now. the overall customization of your character. Oh boy, it was terrible in Diablo 3. Terrible for your customization of your character. This one, it looks like they actually have a lot of different options you have in there, a lot of different AoE effects. Spin the wind with your barbarian. That was really, really cool to see that they actually bring that into the game. But I also like that the camera is kind of pushed more in, because that was the one thing about Diablo 3. They did pull the camera back a lot. I do know on PC you'll have the ability to still pull the camera out if you don't want to be as close to the battle as possible. But I think that's something they're taking from the console version of the game, because the console version was really, really close. And when I'm looking at this gameplay, it seems like, if this is to believe that it's probably PC gameplay, they're using the console settings when it comes to what they did in Diablo 3.
No, this is an Xbox Series X game.
Oh, so it is the Xbox Series. Okay, yeah. So inherently it could be different on PC, where it's pushed back a little bit further because they can show more of the map, because they have more. Because usually these games are more CPU bound than GPU bound, because you're generating so much more stuff in a procedural world. But I am looking forward to this, like slow-mo, day one. Destiny don't exist for me for about 2 weeks until I level my character up. And did they announce that there's going to be crossplay and cross? I guarantee there won't be cross progression, but will there be crossplay on this game? I'm
not certain. Although I do think once the deal is done with Activision Blizzard being acquired by Microsoft, that crossplay to Xbox between PC, it will at the very least, that will be, if not there at launch, it'll be there eventually. So yeah, I look this game it's a day one for you, it's a day one for me. That this one's definitely going to be the a good one when it comes out. But unfortunately, the Wizard as usual.
Oh yeah, Wizard all day, baby.
Yeah,
Wizard all day. But as usual, 2023.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves Captain update. Although this song they did in the trailer was very good. I did like the song.
Yeah.
I don't care about Sea of Thieves though. So yeah, this is another one that should have been at the extended showcase on Tuesday.
Skip. I'm not a pirate. I'm not a pirate legend. So skip.
Yep. Next was Ravenlock, which I am was on my short list of games that I'm excited for, and here's why. Ravenlock is being developed by the same developer that did Echo Generation. I beat Echo Generation earlier this year. Echo Generation is a turn-based RPG, a little bit different than this one, but Echo Generation is awesome. I really recommend playing that game. It's in Game Pass. If you haven't, if you have Game Pass, you want to try it out. It's a really good RPG, a little unforgiving because it's kind of stingy on healing items and healing effects, but awesome RPG, a little disturbing with the story despite its aesthetic. The visual aesthetic looks like kind of like Minecraft or Legos a little bit. You think it's cutesy, but then you kind of look at some of the themes and some of the things that's going on and it's being said, and you're like, oh my god, like this is a really mature thing. But it was awesome. And because of that, I will play whatever this developer comes out with. And this one looks different. Like it's more action RPG in the combat sense. So I'm definitely interested in this one. What about you, Forte?
I don't know. It looks really cool. Ravenlock. I like the aesthetic. The overall, it looks like the whole puppeteer, like the way the enemies look and stuff like that. I like that she's running around with a sword. You put a sword, it's like you said, the whole thing, you put a gun in any game, it looks really interesting.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Gregor. Apparently Diablo 4 will be crossplay day one. They said during the show. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool. That's even, definitely. I don't have to feel bad for playing it on PC then. But
you shouldn't feel bad for playing it on PC. Why would you feel bad?
Well, because maybe some of your friends only play on Xbox and you want to play with your friends.
Well, they should buy PCs. Anyway, go ahead. Okay.
Well, PCs cost a lot of money, Slow.
Ravenlock, come on.
All right. Well, you're the one that derailed it. I said it looks really
good. I
said
it real quick, and then you wanted to just keep going, talking about it. Move on, Ravenlock, come on.
Okay. Okay, cool. Do you get like a little bit of Minecraft with the environments and stuff, with like the textures and the blocks and stuff when it comes to the character?
Yes, that's their shtick. That's what they kind of do. Even though this one visually looks better than Echo Generation,
Yes.
That's their thing. They kind of like that's their art style, their aesthetic that they kind of go with, and I think it works
really
for them.
like it.
It
I really
definitely
like
works
it.
for them. Yeah.
I really like it, and that was the one thing that stood out to me. And I was like, okay, so if Minecraft actually wanted to get somewhat closer to a realistic look, that's what Minecraft would look like. Okay, I'm in for that. And like I was saying earlier, you put a gun in somebody's hand, that's already a bonus. It makes the game even funner. But put a sword in someone's hand and they run around hacking and slashing and stuff, and then you have interesting characters and stuff. I think that also brings a little bit of lust to it. Don't know, like I said, that ultimately this all comes down to what is available at the time that games like this come out. If there's nothing going on, then absolutely it's a game that you'll download, you're going to try, you might enjoy it. But it just ultimately, because 2023 is going to be so stacked, I just hope it comes out at the right time so people give it an actual chance to play it.
Right. Next is I guess I know some people are going to be interested in this game based off the people who are working on it. It's like the lead game designer worked on Inside and Limbo. But this is Cocoon, and this doesn't really appeal to me. I don't really care for these kind of games, so I'm not really all that interested in it. But I know some people probably will be. What about you, man?
Nope, it's a blimp. I saw a blimp and I was like, is that a blimp? And then I saw a light, and then I was like, oh, look, the light is feeding powers, and look, it's about to be a butterfly that's about to hatch out of this egg. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
All right, cool. Next was a game I know a lot of people were excited for. I'm not as hyped as other people are, but I'm definitely interested in checking it out. And this one is Wolong Fallen Dynasty, being made by Team Ninja. Shout out to Team Ninja. It's been a while since I played one of their games, but Team Ninja is working on this one. It's mostly a CG trailer, although you do get a kind of like an idea of what the combat would be like. What do you think about this one, Forte?
No, I think people are more excited because of the Team Ninja collaboration than the game itself. The game looks cool. It looks really good. But they really only show like a lot of up close combat. The game definitely isn't going to look like that when you're doing the combat. So I really would have liked to see what the actual combat looked like from a player's perspective, because this is a newer game that we're going to see, and it looks like what's the name of that one game from China, the China Hero Project? What is it called?
Wukong, Black Myth Wukong. Although that one, I think Black Myth Wukong looks better. That's actual actual gameplay. Whereas this isn't gameplay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, if this gameplay would have shown something like that, then I would have been like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. But the fact that they had that camera so close, I was like, okay, so what does this combat really look like? Because this definitely isn't combat. So I think more people are excited for the Team Ninja mashup than anything, because they do make really, really good games when it comes to stuff like this. But it's a wait and see, a real wait and see. I think they're just kind of taking advantage of the fact that Team Ninja is actually collaborating on making a game for them, and I honestly believe that's what 90% of the hype around the game, actually, what people like about it is.
All right.
It looks good, though.
Next up was something that was kind of rumored to be happening, and actually, here's another snitch insider leak that was 100% accurate. Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are all coming to Xbox in October. And these were games that were primarily only available on PlayStation, although Persona 4 Golden came to PC last year, 2 years ago, maybe? 2 years ago. But this is great. This is great for gamers on Xbox. This is a high quality Japanese RPG series. And frankly, I better not hear anything from people in the future if Persona 6 ends up being a PlayStation exclusive, because nobody played this game on Xbox when it's going to be in Game Pass when it launches on Xbox. So if you have Game Pass, you don't have to buy it, or you just straight up buy the game if you want. But people aren't downloading and playing this game. If all that talk was cap and then you actually didn't actually play the game, yeah, look, you deserve to not get the Persona 6. Why would Atlas put their games on your platform if you're not going to support them? I do know the PC community will support it because the PC community, like, it bought in the millions, bought Persona 4 Golden. So I do feel like with these games going to be available, Persona 5 Royal is going to be available on PC. So is the P3 Portable. That Persona 6 likely will hit PC. But who knows about it coming to Xbox? I know Atlas is now open to being a multi-platform developer, but you gotta actually make it worth their while to do so. What do you think, Forte?
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like people at a certain point, if you want games like this to come to the platform, you have to prove it by indulging and actually trying the games out, especially with the games being in Game Pass. You don't even have to buy them, just download them, you know, play them and like see what they're all about. Don't just give it the whole I'm just going to play this for 45 minutes to an hour and see what it's like. No, give it an actual go, because the thing about Persona games, some of them have a very slow build up and you have to get a little bit into the game, probably like the first 2-3 hours of the game just to get a real good gist of them.
Well, maybe a little bit longer than with that, because Persona 5 Royal, I think actually all these games take over 100 hours to complete.
100 hours to play.
Yeah.
So I was just say, just honestly, let's be for real. I just feel like take the bullet. Everybody should download this game, play it, give it a little bit of screen time, just so it proves that, hey, when they come out, Xbox can say like, hey, we had over 10 million people download the Atlas game, download Personas, and, you know, try the games out and stuff like that. And mostly due to the fact that we can just start getting games like this. Like, do we really want to wait for Persona 6 to go to PlayStation first or other platforms first before we even get a chance to? Because that's kind of a miss for Xbox. Like, this was a W that they were able to get Persona 3 and 4 before PlayStation actually had them.
Well, actually, no, it's going to be
announced. They're coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, the announced, yeah, but they're all coming at the same time.
Yeah, but they were announced on the Xbox stage, which is never happens. So I'm definitely going to download them. One of my favorite Atlas games is Catherine. I always play. I probably play Catherine once a year because I enjoy that. I love that puzzle game. I love that game so much, and I will always support Atlas when it comes to stuff like that, because I feel like they make really, really good handcrafted experiences that are a little bit off the wall. But if you actually pay attention to the stories and stuff, you can get like a really, really good meaning from them. And it's really good to see that these games are actually coming over, because I never played Persona 5, even though it is available on the PlayStation collections for PlayStation 5 owners. I didn't play it over there. But knowing that we're actually getting a Royal Edition on Xbox, I might actually get. I will give it a try, because I do want to support and get some of those games over on the Xbox ecosystem for the people that want to play those to actually get a chance to play them.
Cool. The next thing, although I don't have the footage for it because I forgot. But it's Kojima came out and announced that he's working. Footage. Well, the footage was Kojima standing there speaking and it being translated. That was footage.
Yeah. Right.
He came out and he said, I'm working with Xbox on the cloud game. I guess that cloud game, Tom Henderson has, since the show reported that cloud game is Overdose, which was also leaked by the Snitch. The term overdose, and Tom Henderson reported on it, and Kojima Productions tried to get him to take it down, and he refused to because he didn't sign no NDAs, which makes sense. But that game, look, Kojima just showing up on camera and talking about a game that he's working on lets you know just how far out this game is. It ain't coming out anytime soon. They probably have an Xbox Series V by the time this game shows up. But plus, I don't really care for Kojima. I think he's a bit overrated. I know some people find that blasphemous, but like I don't care for this game. What about you, man?
I haven't cared about a Kojima game since Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes.
All right, well that does it. So the last thing here is Starfield, which has caused a ton
More
of
than his own share.
huh.
More than his own share of controversy.
Yeah.
There's so much controversy around this game for every little thing that they now. You got people out here putting out analysis that are over 40 minutes long, breaking down the game. It's like it's comical at this point, man. It's so crazy.
Look, we have gone long. This podcast is over 3 hours. Let's sum up our thoughts on Starfield real quick. I went from, when I saw this trailer, I went from I'm not going to try it to at least, okay, I'll give it a shot. But from what I saw, visually, nothing very impressive here on a game that's next gen. Again, they're still using the same engine that they used before, which everyone acknowledges that engine is woeful. And from based off on people who are previously Bethesda employees, the engine has given them issues in development. This game's been developed for a long time. The gunplay did not look all that great. Hopefully they tighten that up. But it didn't look like unplayable. It's not that bad. It just didn't look awesome. I don't really care for some of the other things that people are complaining about. People complaining about the main protagonist not being voiced. We have a ton of dialogue. That even more dialogue than other RPGs, then that makes sense to me. One of my favorite games of all time is Dragon Age Origins. Main protagonist is not voiced. I don't care. If it's a great story, if the NPCs around you and the people that you speak to on a regular basis are well voice acted and they're voiced, that's all that matters to me. I don't care about being able to land your ship. I probably would crash it anyway. So I probably go ahead and give me the cutscene of me landing my ship, because I do not care about that either. I don't care about 1,000 planets. It's probably mostly procedurally generated anyway, which I think that got kind of confirmed. And then like there's some like mainstay stuff that you can actually go see that's like actually been put together, which look, it's a massive game. With a lot to do, which is the Bethesda MO, giving you a lot to do, a great huge sandbox, and that's not necessarily what I'm always into. I will give this a shot, but if the narrative story-wise isn't a little bit tighter than what they've done with their previous games, then I'm probably not going to finish it. All right, Forte, what do you think?
I went from, following your lead, I went from very interested in the game to actually wanting to really play the game now. It's mostly due to the sci-fi aspect of the game. I am a huge sci-fi person. I love games that have sci-fi aspects to it, and seeing the combat was like, could it be a little better? Absolutely, but you know, we do know there's still a little bit of time for them to do it, but it's good enough to the point where I'm like, I'm really interested in playing this game, because I like the whole traveling, you know. Well, who knows how the actual traveling between planets is actually going to work. They already pretty much came and said that it's not going to be like as seamless as going from one planet to the other like it was in No Man's Sky. But I just like the overall aesthetic that the game is actually going for. Now, is it going to be like RPG wise? We know it's going to have a lot of deep RPG elements and stuff, but is it going to be sci-fi enough to actually garner like a long playthrough, or is it going to be something like, oh, I seen this planet, I seen that planet, it's pretty much carbon copy, just change blue for green as the skybox on a different planet, and then I might get to a point where I'm like, okay, this is a cool game, but I got enough out of it. But it got me to at least to the point where I'm more interested in actually downloading this game and giving it a real shot, because I'm not really into the Bethesda thing when it comes to like like Fallout and Skyrim and stuff like that, because more of the medieval stuff and then the post-apocalyptic stuff like that, like I really wasn't into that. But as soon as I started seeing like the sci-fi side of it with space and everything, because that's like, you know, part of my first love is like, you know, just learning about outer space and what's out there and stuff. So I think that that's kind of the thing that's kind of driving me. But that can really run dry if the game doesn't have everything else that I want to keep me engaged. Like, you know, pretty much like how Mass Effect did, you know, how the story just progressed and you just kept going from place to place to place. And it just made you feel like you were part of a bigger a bigger plot, a bigger story, and if Starfield can do that, absolutely, I'll finish the game. But if it can't, then it will be a game that I was like, well, it was a good try. I like the execution in some areas, but you know, it kind of fell short in others. But we'll see that at some point next year.
Yeah, I think that I forgot what I was about to say. There was some things that a lot of things that people have been discussing about this game that I thought, about the gunplay. The gunplay looked like really pedestrian. I do kind of wonder if like it's kind of like Cyberpunk, where it's so much of an RPG that the gunplay is woeful in the beginning because you're supposed to build your characters' skill trees up and their specializations up to be better at it, which is something that we probably won't know for certain until the game comes out. I think that was a mistake for Cyberpunk because people are used to first-person shooters and at least having a very high floor when it comes to the shooting. I think that Borderlands does it a great way where your gunplay is fine. It just gets better from there with the badass rank. And I think that like if you're and also your skill trees in that, because you can speed up reload speed and weapon handling, stuff like that with various different skills in Borderlands as well. But I kind of feel like they should probably not go that route, but it may be a little too late for that at this point. I think people making excuses for the way the characters look. Look, I'm sorry.
Look at those eyes.
It's next gen. Look, we can't kill BioWare for Mass Effect Andromeda back in 2017, 5 years ago, for having dead eyes and dead faces. And then in 2022, when a next gen game say it's okay for Bethesda to have that. No, it's not. That woman was just cross-eyed. She looked cross-eyed to me.
Yeah, she did.
That's not acceptable whatsoever. This stuff's gotta get better. And people going out here acting like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Well, in Elden Ring, this isn't Elden Ring. Elden Ring doesn't even attempt to do what Bethesda's doing in this game. They don't even have conversations with close-up looks on people's faces at all. So, like, From Software didn't even attempt to do this kind of thing in this game, and therefore that's why no one cared that the visuals of the characters' faces weren't like amazing. But when you're gonna have all these conversations with characters, with NPCs all throughout the game, you need to make sure that what I'm looking at looks like the standard of 2022 and not the standard of 2014. Okay.
I'm just happy they're not using the VAT system. That's what made me excited for the gunplay.
Yeah.
And I was kind of worried. It's like, are they going to use the VAT system in this game? Please say you're not going to use a VAT system or any inkling of what it could be in a sci-fi universe. But I was glad that they just left it as free for all. But you know what? That's a good observation, though. Maybe there is skill that you have to progress through to get your combat efficiency higher when it comes to different weapons and stuff like that. So let's hope that's the case. But like I said, just seeing the combat made me more interested in playing it than not seeing it, because at least we have an understanding of it's kind of free flowing and it's not like tag a limb and do damage to it to do damage to the enemy, and it's like you can just shoot your gun freely and do damage.
Yeah. So overall with the show, again, as I said, it was a 7.5. It was a show that showed some good games, a handful of, I would say probably half a dozen games that I'm definitely going to play day one that I really enjoyed. But it was like, there was nothing there that was like, oh my God, that game was amazing. Oh my God, that game looks like it's doing something I've never seen before, or it looks so beautiful, or the gameplay looks like something that I need to play and I want it in my hands right now. Like, your competition, whenever they do their shows, they provide stuff that get people like on a hype level that's much higher than what was shown here, at least in my opinion. So I gave it a 7.5 for me personally, as well as how I kind of feel like those games just showed to the overall public. Forte, does your numbers change at all?
No, I still like I said, overall for me, I still give it like a 6.5, because like the disappointment thing was the fact that most of these games just remind you of all the stuff that was supposed to come out this year that isn't coming out this year. So it's just a huge reminder of that. But as a whole, the show was actually an enjoyable show. Like I like the pacing of the show. I like the games that they shown. It was like all those games weren't for me, but it was a lot of games and a lot of variety for people to explore and see the games that they wanted to see. And I think about 19 of the, I think it was 19 of the games all shown were all coming to Game Pass day and date, which is another really good thing. So there's really no barrier entry outside of your subscription model that you probably already have. So it gives you no reason not to at least try these games out and experience what they actually are. But for me, it's like 6.5, basically, just on the things that I knew was coming out this year, because this show just reminded me that 2022 is a huge miss for Xbox.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't got much coming out this year, and everything that you showed that was look more impressive than everything else was a 2023 game. But man, look, that's the show, man. We absolutely, oh man, we this is probably the longest
show.
The longest show we ever had. 3 hours and 18 minutes, man.
3 hours 18 minutes. Holy.
Let's go ahead and get these outros done and get up out of here. Let me shout out to the
you did not buy that Master Chief. You did not buy that Master Chief skin.
Yes, I did buy that Master Chief skin, and yes, I did have that Master Chief skin doing the Dougie.
It looked really good doing the Dougie too.
And yes, I do have Marcus Phoenix. Let's get up out of here, man. See, look, I wouldn't be doing that, Forte, if it wasn't if you would play Fortnite with me, you know. Anyway,
what do you want me to play with? I will play Fortnite with you.
All right, we'll set something.
You got Lara Croft too?
Yeah, man.
Did you just buy all the video game characters?
This is what I do.
How much money did you
hold
spend
on. Listen to me. This is what I do.
Okay, I'm listening.
I actually have skins of characters that like were shown years ago. Like Brandon Sanderson has a series called Mistborn. One of his characters, Kelsier, is in Fortnite. When I heard that his character was in Fortnite, I installed the game just to buy the character, and then I uninstalled it. So up until them having this zero build mode, I just, whenever there's been like a cool character, I would just go into Fortnite and get the character for no reason. So yeah, I got Lara Croft, I got Obi-Wan Kenobi, I got Moon Knight, I got the Kelsier from Mistborn, I got Master Chief, I got Marcus Phoenix. I would have the Scarlet Witch, but I missed her. Like, I saw the tweet saying Scarlet Witch was in there. When I checked, she was gone. But like, I mean, that's what I do, man.
How much are these skins, Slow-Mo?
Don't worry about that. Like, anywhere between like $10 to $15. Like don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Like,
I ain't gonna pocket watch.
Stop pocket watching me. Stop
I ain't
pocket
gonna
watching
pocket
me.
watch you, bro.
Anyway, let's get up. But first, I want to say thank you to the 45 people who are still rocking out with us after 3.5 hours in this, like, in the middle of the night. It's nearly 1 in the morning. Y'all crazy. We crazy too, but y'all just as crazy. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you for still being here. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. You know, like, don't be stingy. Hit the like button. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, please do so. Sub to Forte's channel as well. His channel was in the description. If you want to be a member, you want to be a 10%er. You don't want to be all these 90% chumps out here who can't play games, don't know how to play games, and just all they do is talk about games and don't ever play nothing. If that's not you, be a 10%er, man. Join the club, become a member. It's just $1 for the lowest tier. So come join us, man. We really appreciate you guys being out with us, and let's get these outros going. Forte, let everybody know where to find you.
Yo, man, great job today, man. You had a seamless transition between everything, and you always do a great job when you're hosting, and appreciate the knowledge and honesty that you bring to the conversation. But for myself, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. Check us out next week for DPS Podcast episode 89. Getting real close to that 100 episodes. It'll be here before you know it. But yeah, shout out to everybody up in the chat. Shout out to all the super chats. Shout out to the new members. Shout out to everybody that came through and rocked out with us. And make sure you just enjoy the games that you're playing and enjoy the rest of your week.
But for me, I'm gonna try to get. I haven't done a lunchtime with slow mo since I came back from vacation, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to. But of course, coming back from vacation, work usually becomes a hindrance, especially when lunchtime with slow mo is around lunchtime. So I'm really kind of like it really kind of depends on how free my day is being. It hasn't been very free this week, but hopefully tomorrow might be different. And if it is, then you can definitely see me going live tomorrow afternoon. I don't know what I'm playing yet. Shout out to Vaccine who hit me with a Korean game that's a little I got told me about it. I asked for access to get into it and try it out, and they gave me access. I haven't played it yet. Maybe I'll play it for the first time tomorrow if I can do a lunchtime with slow mo. If not, at the very least, I will be finishing the Quarry. I probably have one more stream left in me, and once I do that, then the game should be over. So like maybe tomorrow night, and if not tomorrow night, then Saturday for certain. So again, thanks everyone for coming through. You guys are awesome. And I hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy your games. And we're out. Peace.
Peace.
If it lets me end
If it lets you end it. Well,
Okay.
you might have to restart your PC to end it.
You know what? Let's just put up all day's in the chat. All day. Watch this, man. Watch this outro.
Is all day in the chat?
Yeah, he was in the chat before. All day. Watch this outro, bro.
Oh yeah, all day this.
Eyes of Guardian.
Wipe yourself off, man.
Eyes of Guardian.
Wipe yourself off, man. You did.